humans of premium.
Mm-hmm.
You give them 1 damage and they annihilate you on turn 3. And it's gonna be interesting to see, like, because if Aquaforce survives, one of the things that Aquaforce is really, really good at doing is just like, drawing 20 cards on the first stride. So I think as long as he can survive until that point, I think his chance of winning is actually pretty good.
Um, you're not wrong, but the cool thing that I do like about Lamaros though is that oftentimes they don't need to really use a whole bunch of cards to set up with either. It's just sort of like they go into gambled and they just draw a bunch too and try to kill you off with Mikado. So like both of them have their own, your your death strategy. But I think one of the big deciding factors of this matchup is going to be decided if he opens up with Huang or not.
Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be the big thing because like Aquaforce is actually really, really good at playing the grade 2 game,
Mm-hmm.
much better than Murakumo is.
Yeah.
Like, Murakumo needs to aggro really hard to be able to like keep up the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Huang is what's gonna let him, you know, do that safely, as it were.
Yep, not wrong, not wrong at all. Did you happen to test a lot against either matchup actually?
Tested a lot against Aquaforce.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tested that much against Murakumo, but I've played using it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very much a case of the ball is in Murakumo's court here.
Mm. Okay, I do agree with that since it's sort of been like one of the biggest boogeymen in the premium format for a very long time now.
Mm-hmm.
Like for unnecessary long, some would say, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. Like, Aquaforce is very straightforward in what it's trying to do. It's just trying to get that first stride jumbled, draw a bunch of cards, and then go from there. So the quote unquote kill potential of it, I think, is a lot lower
Mm-hmm.
compared to Murakumo's, stride Nuedaio, 10 attacks. Half of them are very, very hard to guard. So it'll be interesting to see, like, especially how they play the grade 2 game, who gets like the first stride pressure, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, Sushi Slayer is trying to get set up right now, since not a lot of people get access to a whole lot of those, fancy camera stands what most content creators have or most
Yeah.
people own. But they're trying their best and they're doing with it. And it's a small little cool little community thing, so it's gonna be a
Yeah,
really fun session.
we can make it work. Yeah. All right. So I think it looks like the players are ready. So let me just give them the notes. Then we can start. And we'll see how they get underway.
All right. So I'm gonna copy the link for them real quick, so then everybody can kind of monitor the time as well. I'll be posting it in the tournament lounge for the people who are taking part. So give me a moment. There we go. So now they should be able to follow the timer.
Mm-hmm.
And we can start. So it looks like they're currently deciding on who goes first and second. Who do you feel more favored going first or second?
I think it's very weird because Murakumo wants to go first because if he draws the Huang, it lets him just go straight into Nuedaio on turn 3. And at the same time, Aquaforce wants to go second because it wants to stride the jumbled and draw a bunch of cards going on that first stride. Which, if he ends up giving the damage for the Nuedaio, he'll have the chance to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, it's going to be a case of like both players definitely have a choice between first and second.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Murakumo going first is not exactly ideal for Aquaforce either.
Mm. So I guess he would still like just take it and just try not to give any damage whatsoever. Huh?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also really awkward because as much as you want to be guarding early against Murakumo where you can, you don't want to just take no damage because a lot of Aquaforce's good cards, Jumbold, cost counter blast, Alexandros, cost counter blast. So you can't just play the 0 damage game like of these other strong tier 1 premium decks can.
Yep. Yeah. That is right. That's right. Since since a lot of the very good ones oftentimes just play Bobo. I mean, that could be a deciding thing too as well. Like if he does play Bobo, which some lists do, like I think some newer lists also play a couple copies, sometimes too as well, and also Aquaforce. That'll be a very big deciding factor whether or not that tech is going to be able to help them out.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bobo is much more useful for Murakumo than it is for Aquaforce,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because Aquaforce would rather use those deck slots for combo pieces like draws and whatnot. But if he does have it, then it'll definitely uh, give him that edge and safety to like play a bit more defensively.
All right, looks like he went for the grade one already, and he slams down the Huang. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard now for Aquaforce. If he has ways of swinging under, I think he definitely wants to take them.
Mm-hmm.
But the alternative option is now that the Huang's come down, he could also just be the option of, okay, well, he has the Huang, he's gonna Nue Daiomi. I might as well do what I can now, get the early pressure on, keep up the damage lead, and then just try to guard as much as I can. There's another option. And like we said, he does have the better grade 2 game. So if he wants to, he can potentially try to deny. But I think at this point now, he's just hoping that Murakumo doesn't have all the pieces it needs to get there.
Yeah.
So he's riding an 8k body on the Nikki, which means Nuedai is definitely going to happen.
Yep.
I think what he's hoping for now is just, for War Jiggle not to have, like, multiple Hyakis or whatnot.
Because when he does start his turn, or the next coming turns, especially since he does have the first turn, like, would you just go in then? Would you just kind of, like, just turn off your brain and just kind of slam anyway? Just commit more cards to the board and try to rush him as possible?
I personally wouldn't, because... Or not right now, at least, because I know that every single counterblast is another Hyaki that could come out, which is obviously very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
So I think you want to play it slow and see what he does on turn 2. If War Jiggle commits back on turn 2, then you can start playing like the brainless game and just back and forth, bash each other's faces in. But if War Jiggle plays a bit more conservatively, to me that would imply that he has his pieces and he's saving them in hand. Because if he's committing stuff to the board, then it means that he's much likely to have like the combo piece, and he's just trying to get what mileage he can out of the Huang.
You're right. You're right. Sadly enough, I think I guess Jumble does still allow him to retire the board, even if he does get the new turn off. So it does allow him to tempo a little bit in response, which is nice.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's all just a case of like surviving this initial, like the first new turn.
Yeah.
You can definitely swing it back in.
Oh, you don't really see that card in New that often.
Jokotsu, yeah. So that implies to me that War Jiggle's playing the Shiroyuki engine, which is very interesting. I don't think it's wrong. I'm just surprised that he has space for it, given that Nue normally needs to have so many pieces to commit to its combo. So very aggressive one pass here from Sushi Slayer, which worked out for him. But like we just said, the fact that War Jiggle didn't commit a board implies that he has a lot of his combo pieces already, and we saw him drive check the Hyaki, which means, wow, he's definitely going to go all in next turn if I give him too much damage. Yeah. So now he has to be very careful about how he plays this turn.
So he'd be riding a Title Assault here for his turn.
Yeah. Which, I'm not sure, we can't see Sushi Slayer's hand, but if he had the Saber Flow, I would definitely have ridden that just so you can swing under and deny that extra damage. Because now that he has 2 Counterblast, he's definitely going to go into Hyuga and then use Hyuga's skill into Nuedaio.
Yeah.
But then if you give him the extra Counterblast here, that then turns into a Hyaki, which is even scarier.
So right now he's just sort of like praying and hoping he's not going to get blown up. That's kind of
Exactly.
where his train of thought is at the moment. So Saberflow, for most of the viewers at home who don't know what Saberflow does, it is a 8K grade 2 with a GB effect. On wave 4, you get to draw 2 cards by retiring herself, which is
Yep.
really good for the extra card draw. Allows you to facilitate your extra G guards you potentially can draw into with the extra pluses you could gain off of it. So you could probably go into the Megiddo a turn after, or get you Alexandros online, or just a whole lot of very good finishing pieces.
Hmm. So yeah, like we said, because he hasn't committed too much, we want to see stuff on the board as much as we can. Just we don't want to see too much stuff on Sushi Slayer's board because that every card that he's calling to the board now is a card that he might need to guard the rear guard swings going the next turn.
Oh, I really love that he committed a grade 1 here, so then it allows him to, in case he gets a crit.
Yep, there
Yeah.
it is. That's exactly what we want. Yeah,
Oh, Georgia. Woof.
it's pretty solid. So I think we're definitely going to see the Hyuga into Nuadio here.
Yeah.
The question is, will he be able to get to the 7 attack combo?
He is currently on 0 damage, so I mean, I'm hopeful that he might survive, unless he draws into any of the extra extenders or the extra buffs or central arrestor, anything like that. I think he might be
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Yeah. And like we said, guarding early is definitely the way to go because even though he needs counterblast going into it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, he's probably going to be no guarding the Nuadio swing and then trying to guard the rear guard attacks. It also means that any damage triggers he gets, like it gives him more opportunity to get the good damage triggers that he needs to defend against Nuadio. So I think there's a little bit of lag between the players. We're just waiting for them to pass turn.
Yep. And it's also one of the reasons why we put these rounds as 50 minutes instead of like 40 or 35 in standard like BCS fashion or local fashion, since there is a lot of latency between both of the players.
Yeah, you just want to give the players as much time to do what they can. So the Miyamaru comes in as well. That's a really big play. And there's the 5th rearguard he needs for the Nuadia.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember what that grade 1 rearguard in War Jiggle's back row is called. It's a G piece, I know that much. Just trying to remember what it does. I think it's Shadow Stitch and does something else, but I'm not quite sure.
Oh, what its skill is? I can't remember its name, but its complete skill is, you choose a normal unit, you set into your the bottom of your deck. It gets plus 3k, and it's only if your opponent like, this is just Shadow Stitch. Just like if anything
Right.
didn't hit, that's all it does. I forgot its name as well.
Right, yeah. I know it's part of the infinite loop.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't sure how. Okay. So yeah, the only downside here is that Warjiggle doesn't have the option of copying a grade 3 with Hyuga. He's got 1 or 2s. And I think he's going to go for the 1 because he wants to leave his front row open so that he can Hyaki into it.
Oh man, this is gonna be a very. Oh yeah, he could get a grade 2. So he could get
The grade 2 wouldn't be bad. Like I said though, he really wants to fill that front row slot with a Hyaki so that his entire board can gain the plus 10k after he Hyugas.
Yeah. Oh, he had another one. Never mind. He had another one. It's all right.
Okay, he just did it manually. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Although I probably would have just discarded the Haki for Haki, just so you can, because if he Hyugas first, the first Haki becomes Hyuga name, and then when you copy a Haki with its skill, it makes a regular 12k Haki, but then everything else on the board gets plus 10k, which is obviously massive in terms of pushing that damage and playing over the damage trigger.
Then you just lose power, and you also lose that on thing not your deck earlier too.
Exactly.
Hmm. All right. This is the turn.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting how he went for the central arrestor, because sure it's an extra attack, but it's an extra attack that barely hits.
Yeah, it just kind of like tickles for 15. I mean 14. So then, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
No, it's just 9 because he's not a dueling dragon.
Oh no, but the grade 2 on the axle marker gives it plus 5k.
Right, because they changed the name. Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, even then, like, we've got what, 17, 14. Sorry, that's more than 20. It's got a booster. So 24, 14, another 20, another 24, and then a 19. So yeah, if Sushi Shule just gets like one damage trigger early here, it just makes his attack way easier to guard.
Yep. Yeah. And depending on like how much soul he has, it could become a little bit larger, tiny bit, because then the columns from getting plus 10k, they'll be getting plus 20k. Oh, he does have like one more soul. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then Hyaki also gives him extra plus 10. So that's swung in for 29.
Oh, he did counterbalance for Haki in the end, right? I
Yeah.
missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is also swinging in for 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just 20k shield here since he can't G-guard, since he's not on grade 3 yet.
Yeah.
Yep. Since he didn't hit, he gets to put a normal unit to the bottom of his deck.
Plus 3k. Yeah. I mean, I probably would have. That's why I probably would have looked at just taking this damage here, because
Mm-hmm.
you're still not at danger of dying. Because you're definitely no guarding the Niue swing, and then there's only 4 more swings after that.
I guess
And
his
taking the damage would have helped here as well. It also would have denied the potential for War Jiggle to hit the heal trigger.
yeah, fair. I guess he's trying to like. I guess what he's factoring into his mind right now is that since he can actually just guard these, because in the next coming attacks, if his opponent flips a crit trigger, he's just not going to be able to guard them at all. So I guess he's just like, you try to guard the lower ones, or lowest ones that you possibly can, and then take the ones they literally just can't guard anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, Tamba. Somebody helped us out in chat. It's called Tamba.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
How do you deal with turns like this? Outside of like taking the initial couple damage and hoping to get the trigger.
I think that's all you do. You just pray to hit the defensives, which
Oh,
aren't coming up, which is really unfortunate.
it's like a barren wasteland. He has 3 more. After the Vanguard swing, he still has like 4 more attacks coming in. Jesus.
Yeah, it also doesn't help that he couldn't ride smaller bodies to like swing under through the Huang either.
Yeah, because it gave him the extra CB that now the Hyuga was able to hit for.
Yeah, like we said, every single counterblast with Hyaki is an extra piece of extension.
Hyaki, draw trigger.
Yep, it's gonna make the columns even scarier.
Oh dear
And there it
God.
is, like I said, yeah, the heal trigger comes through. So fortunately, he did take the extra damage. The heal trigger doesn't go off, but it's still really not. It doesn't help that now Warjiggle has a bit of extra defensive power going into the next turn.
Oh man. This it's kind of like one of those things with Vanguard a lot. Oh, I think Sushi.
Oh,
Yeah, Sushi disconnected there.
no worries. We'll just wait a little bit for him. He's back. Yep.
Oh, at least he's tempting too. All right, there we go.
There we go.
Have you actually been able to make use of the? Been able to play like any remote fights or anything like that recently?
Yeah, there's I'm playing a bunch of Vice a lot more
Oh, nice,
through the various online groups I'm in.
nice, nice. And how's been some of your experiences with it so far?
It's not too bad. It's just I mean, it's the same as anything. You just don't get to see your opponent's face. There's a little bit less of the human aspect of it.
Oh, just a barren
It's
wasteland there.
another no defensive. Yeah, it's going to be really tough here. And the problem as well is that because War Jiggle was able to hit the Hyaki, even if he had gotten defensive at this point, the columns are still really really huge and it's still really tough to defend against.
Exactly. So even if he does become 19, it's still more than like 30k shield per attack.
Mm-hmm.
Woof.
I think we're just having a few more connection issues between the players. It seems.
Because I think Warjiggle said he could not see what was going on, I guess. So he's going to be reconnecting again.
Yeah. We'll see if things improve.
Oh, looks like we're back.
Mm-hmm.
So he took Narissa damage. Yep. It's going to be soul blasting the last bit of soul that he still has. And plus 5 to everything. Jesus.
Wow, that's really unfortunate.
God.
That's really unfortunate.
I guess you eat. You got a guard.
Yeah, he can still survive. It's just gonna be very hard.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna PG. Another +3 again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the problem here. Like the moment your opponent, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That there was
Your,
no way.
he, like Murakumo just went first, had the Huam. You didn't have pieces to ride under and swing under. Then there's just not much you can do at that point.
Yeah, and that's kind of like one of the biggest issues with it, because Murakumo or like Nuedayo in itself is not threatening. Him himself is not threatening. It's just the fact that Huang just creates zero counterplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Woof. Yeah. And having an Exodia board like this is no way. But I mean, who knows? Game 2. Game 2. Yeah, it's going to be 3 rounds of Swiss, no top cut. I mean, we don't need to have one. Small locals, it's only 6 people.
Yeah.
If we had 9, we'd had 4 rounds, but hey, it is what it is.
So yeah, that's like I said, even though Aquaforce wants to be going second, the risk you take is that Murakumo just opens the Huam and then you can't swing under. Which it is actually quite easy for Aquaforce to swing under. I guess he just didn't have the pieces in hand. So the question is, at this point, maybe it's because of how his deck list is, how he's built the list. He just might not have enough reliable ways of swinging under. So if he wants to go first this time, I think that's definitely reasonable. It takes away a lot of the pressure from the Nuodayo. But at the same time, he gives up the first stride, and then Murakumo can just play a regular game. And if he doesn't have the G guards to survive still the regular turn, it's going to be a lot harder.
Huh. So we still want to go second. Still want to go second. Since they get to decide who goes first.
Yeah.
And then he just needs to hope he didn't open up Huang again.
It just comes down to how good are you at drawing cards. Because if you go first, then you need to draw the heal so you can G-guard. But if you go second, you need to draw pieces to swing under with and force him to give you first stride.
Yep. And I think that's the best thing that he can try to go for. He does have some 7k units that we did see earlier, especially with the grade 1 he opened with. So if he does hold on to those, he should be good.
Yeah, like Orthea, Saberflow. There's so many ways of swinging under through the Huam. So it shouldn't really be a concern for him. He just needs to hit those pieces.
Yep. So somebody was asking, why wouldn't you want Aqua not go first there? It's because they want first stride and they want to go into jumbled. And you want to force your opponent to have the pieces to go into the Nuodayo. You force them to commit to the board, and then you use your jumble to retire everything that they have and force them to rebuild. And by that time, you'll still be too far ahead with your hand. That their turn will be very ineffective, so then you can stride into Alexandros and kill them after. So that's kind of... Yeah.
The reason behind Aquaforce going first is fine, but the problem is that your grade 2 game is better than their grade 2 game. But when you're going first, it incentivizes them to aggro you a lot harder, which is the concern. So it comes down to, even though Murakumo's G guards and going first defense isn't very good, you can't capitalize on it.
No, because your defenses outside of your stride turns are not that good either. Outside of you pass your grade 2 turn, yes, but before your grade 2 turn, they're not that hot since you want to have a bunch of pieces to draw with.
Yeah, because you haven't drawn that many cards with even if you go first and you have the G guard, that's all you have, and you're still dealing with the Nuodayo no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. So in this way, at least you get to draw and still retire. So you you swing advantage in your favor. So right now they're deciding the mulligans. So 2 get sent back. I think War Jiggle is also currently deciding on what goes back now. Do you oftentimes make a read on how good your opponent hand is by what they send back?
Sometimes. Depends on the matchup. I think in a matchup like this, it doesn't really matter. Because both players, aren't looking Murakumo's not going to aggressively mulligan for the Huam a lot of the time, because it also needs to mulligan for its combo pieces. Whereas something like, say, Gold Paladin, will always mulligan for X, Y, and Z. So you can kind of see that a little bit more clearly. He's taking the pressure of going first, which I think is fine. It just comes down to, does he think his early turn can give him the chance of surviving the Nue regardless?
Okay, so he is gonna go. All right, so you wrote in Dennis. Check out.
I think that's Nikki.
Oh, it's Nikki. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's very interesting how both times he's chosen to draw first before the top seven.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said this before a few times that generally you want to top check before you draw, because even though it's very minor differences in percentages,
Mm-hmm.
if you add something off the top seven, you're then slightly more favored to draw something better off the draw.
Ah, because I think in Yu-Gi-Oh that policy is actually a bit different. With Yu-Gi-Oh, it's actually you draw first, see what you get, and then you use your search card to see what pieces that you're missing. So I think that's interesting. That's different for
Yeah, but
Vanguard.
that's because Yu-Gi-Oh is a lot more piece reliant. Like
Mm-hmm.
specific, you don't care about how many, you just care about what cards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas here in Vanguard, it's a lot more like, because Nikki only searches for the Dennis or Thavas,
Mm-hmm.
you want to be able to like find things like G guards or penguins or saber flows and things like that off of the draws.
Okay. 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 Ah, and he found it.
There's the line. Yep.
Wee. Oh dear.
So he's swinging under, and because so this is the problem now. Now that Warjiggle's found the Wang, it means that it's impossible for Aquaforce to ride in a way that swings under. So at this point, the question is: do you aggro, or do you just give him the one damage and just try and like not die going forward? I think it's very hard.
I think I think it really depends on your hand itself.
Yeah.
Because if he does, oh my god, if he does like ride into like a Thavas next turn, he can actually get rid of the Huang.
Yes, which definitely helps.
Because then he could
But I
just.
think we see the G Thavas there in his hand, not the V Thavas.
Oh, that is. Yeah.
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 So you call something to give triggers to at least. And he's got the heal for going first, so you can definitely G guard the new A turn, which is useful.
Yep.
It's just the only downside is now, like, if he tries to grade 2 game, he's gonna get Nua Diode anyway, and if he rides up, it saves Warjiggler's soul, which obviously matters a lot less, but it's still very threatening.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why he runs the G Thavas over the V. For the
So it's the one that stands on Rearguard Circle.
Just for the extra multi attacker. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it carries Alex triggers really, really well.
Okay. I think Warjiggle froze.
Yeah, we've got some more connection issues here.
Yeah, so he's currently waiting on him. Hmm. So how much
So
rate?
there's an argument here as well that even though Warjiggle's going second and has the first, quote unquote first strike pressure,
Mm-hmm.
he might still choose to just ride Huga, use skill, and just like do it the old fashioned way, just so he can get the field pump as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like just pitching for Strider or anything like that just seems pretty wasteful. I think you just commit.
Exactly.
You just do everything you usually did. You skip your stride and just do whatever.
Yeah. But there's also the argument of just if you normal stride,
Mm-hmm.
you get a few less attacks, but you conserve resources a bit more effectively.
So if you want to probably play around a jumbled turn, I guess that could work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an option. The only problem is that Murakumo doesn't really have any other better strides. So if he does, like, I think if Warjiggle like slows down at any point, it just gives Aquaforce more time to come back,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to become very, very hard to win from that point unless he has like a really big G10 turn.
He could take it slow and go Gilgal. There are some times I have thought about that in other like Dragon Empire games that I've seen before, where sometimes they do decide to go into like going to something else. And I'm like, well, you could kind of just go Gilgal, slow your turn down a little bit, swing, and just pass. Sometimes that can
Yeah.
help too. Just draw cards. Drawing cards is also just fine.
Yeah.
And the free strike for the rest of the game is also not bad because you also conserve more resources.
So his screen's frozen again, but this time on the grade 2 attack. He's got the central arrestor in the back row as well, which it's not bad. I think maybe he's trying to aggro here early on because he knows he's going to get that first stride no matter what.
And I guess just giving your opponent a bit more damage just is kind of good.
Just to force them to guard a bit harder, exactly. Because like we said, Act Force is not going to like have that ultimate defense just from riding grade 3 alone. It's just, like it's one, maybe two extra cards in hand to guard with. And if he does get like the full Nue combo, then it's that one extra card isn't really going to make much of a difference.
Nope. Ah, okay, so that is the 3K double crit unit.
Yep. So no trigger from Sushi Slayer. So there's a chance that Wujil, attacks with the back row central arrestor. Because he knows that unlike Murakumo, Aqua Force doesn't scale with Counterblast.
He says sucks.
Yeah, and just like Murakumo, Aqua Force is also very piece reliant. So he guards with the Thavas. So I think he's going to try and G assist into the into V Thavas and try and pop the Huang, is what it seems like.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going.
Wouldn't be a bad call, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I like it too. That's something you tend to see rarely that people do nowadays.
Yeah.
And he has enough to guard with, so I guess he'll be able to get rid of.
So he has the double G guard, which is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
The only downside is he's going to be removing two cards here. He misses the G assist, which is probably the worst thing that could have happened. I was going to say, like, even if he hits the G assist, he removes, like, Wheel Assault and one of the crits, and then gets two drive checks.
And he gets the extra marker, which technically refills the assist, but he's still down two cards.
So he's only really guarding, like, 3 or 4 attacks the next turn anyway, but in this case, it's... Yeah, whiffing the G assist is even worse, because now it's almost like War Jiggle went first. So he's going to get the Nue no matter what.
And he still needs to assist for next turn, too? Oh my god! That's so...
Yeah, I think maybe guarding with the G Thavas was maybe a bit of a greedy play. Like, if he had... we didn't see his full hand, but if he had the double G guard in hand, there was an argument for just to keep riding the G Thavas, giving up the grade 3, and A, being on an 11k body for the defense, and B, having access to double G guard, I think would have been way more impactful than what's about to go on here.
Yeah, that's not wrong at all. Holy.
So yeah, War Jiggle is still again having some camera issues. So we'll see how... Yep, so we're back. He just swings 9 into 9. I think if you're War Jiggle here, you definitely say, I'm just gonna go all in and annihilate you.
Just say no guard. Just say no guard and take damage.
Yep.
He's like, no guard 3? Well, he doesn't. He whiffed it.
Because the thing is as well is that even if you had found the Thavas from the ride or from the G assist,
yes,
because he's lost 2 cards in hand, he becomes pressured to attack anyway. They found it in the end, yeah, but he would have been pressured to attack and give War Jiggle that extra damage, which would have been really, which isn't great either.
No, it isn't at all.
He goes from 5 to 3, and then draws from the Axel to 4, and I think 4 is not really enough to comfortably guard the entire turn while still having gas to stride and win the game back again next time. So it was kind of a lose-lose situation no matter what.
Yeah. So I think, like, going off of... Like, even though we did find that play kind of spicy, it might have been the greediest one out of all the
Yeah.
options he chose, maybe.
Yeah.
But you don't see it often, which is, I mean, in a different universe, in a different game, or against a different deck, I think that play is okay.
Yeah,
But
definitely. It's just in the only downside is that in the current situation we have, like even if Thavas retires the Huang,
yeah, it's too late.
you're still probably attacking anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of wasn't worth it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're attacking anyway to make up the deficit from the G guard, you might as well just take the 11k body and attack and just get what minor pluses you can.
Yep. And you still get a pretty sweet on stride anyway, so it's all right.
Yep.
What did his on stride even do? I don't even remember.
It calls something and then it gives it back row attack, I believe.
And resist, right or no?
I think the resist has to be a wave unit only. Or it
Um,
might be it just gives it resist, and then if it's a wave ability, it gains back row attack. Something along those lines.
mhm.
But he does have wave cards, like, we see the Orthea in the back row. I think we saw Sipla earlier. The Grade 3 itself has the wave ability, so it's not completely dead,
Mhm.
but he doesn't need that extra back row attack if he's going into jump balls is the only thing. Or rather, I think he really wants the Axel marker because it's what gives him the third draw off of the jump hold.
Oh, which is gonna be really really nice.
Yeah. Because if he rides the G Thavas, he only has 5 rear guards. So he only draws 2 off jump bolt, not 3.
Yep. Then he would only retire 2, not 3.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So Warjiggle chooses not to ride grade 3 and
What?
just attacks, which is interesting.
Unless is he grade stuck?
I don't think so. I think that he just wants, like, now that he's going to get the free stride, I think he's going to try and take it. Especially because we saw Sushi Slayer G assist. Like if I'm Warjiggle, I'm thinking, well, he G assisted and he has the Thavas now, so he's probably going to ride the Thavas and give me first stride.
But oh, I guess he really needs the only thing I could probably think of is like Yaki. That he maybe wants the Yaki out of his deck. He probably didn't draw into one.
Yeah. That, or it could be Kaki's the only grade 3 in his hand and he doesn't have the Hyuga to ride. And riding Kaki is really not ideal.
No, especially because then your opponent just smells weakness and then he just goes in. Then
exactly. So there's the Thavas. And he probably wants to retire the central Arrester rather than the Wham.
Yeah, because it's already too late anyway.
Exactly. Like, Warjiggle already has the 2 counter blast. He can Hyuga into Hyaki, nothing changes.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well just get rid of an attacker and force him to find another central arrester. Which now that you've ridden up to grade 3, he can't do because you don't have a grade 2 on the board. I think it's definitely wrong for Sushi Sled to commit anything else. I think at this point he just rests the Orthea, kills the central arrester, and just attacks and tries to farm pieces to defend with. I wouldn't try and do anything cute here because
No.
even though your opponent chose not to ride, which implies that he might not have the Hyuga, I think it's still you haven't gone into the jump ball yet. It's too dangerous to aggro, and your opponent's you're not going to rip enough cards out of your opponent's hand to the point where their new Diotan is going to be severely nerfed. They're probably going to take 2 or 3 damage and guard 1 or 2, and still have 6 to 7 attacks on you next turn. A lot of which will be very hard to guard.
Yep. That's completely not wrong. How much does Thavas need for Lambros?
3 rested.
3 rested. Nah, that's too cute. Oh, never mind.
Ooh,
Oh.
He's going for it. Okay, so he can definitely make the Lambros.
Okay.
So he's gonna try and fill his board. Tyler's a good call. It's definitely not upset.
Whew.
So it looks like he's gonna go for the Lambros, which is fine because he still has the double heal in hand.
and the Shred crit for next turn. So even if he does get Noid next turn, I think he should be fine.
Yeah. The only downside is that you're giving them all this aggro, and it's what, two, three, four, five, 6 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 6 attacks is like 6 attacks is not going to win him the game here.
No.
And he pluses back up to what, 6 cards in hand after the end of turn Axel, which might keep him alive against the new A, depending on what Warjiggle has.
He needs to now hit a heal, I think. That's kind of... Depends on what his attack order is, he needs to hit a heal.
Yeah. And the heal is definitely not going to go off, because Lambros is never attacking first.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah, which means Warjiggle's probably going to eat the first Ray Guard swing and then deny the heal.
And if he does even if he takes it and it's a defensive trigger or something, Jesus, it's way worse.
Because yeah, the defensive also shuts off this entire turn.
Since he's not on grade 3, he does not get the additional power that he would gain.
Exactly. All he gets is the extra card, and that's kind of it. And it kind of feels not really worth it. So like, if this hits and comes to trigger, all of his Rayguard swings get turned off, which is really sucks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he took it. That was not a trigger?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Warjiggle's camera is kind of taking a while to catch up, but yeah. So that's good. It means that he can now go Tidal unboosted, restand, Tidal boosted, and all hits. It's pretty powerful. Don't boost, no!
Sag. I think he's probably going to go for... Oh, because he can target 2 units, so it's a column.
Right, but then if he gets the defensive here, then... You see what I mean? Like, it still turns off. Whereas I would rather have just gone for the Tidal unboosted, no skill, and then stand it again and then attack again.
Oh, I guess he's going for a trigger, because then he could just give the trigger to Tidal.
But that's the thing. Like, I would rather have used the Lambros skill on the grade 3 Thavas Rayguard, because then it's already 17.
Yeah.
So like it just hits a little bit harder than the other column, which is, you know, when he uses Tidal eventually, it's going to be 4 + 7, which is 11, which is only 5 to guard rather than 10 to guard.
Did you guard this attack usually?
Yes.
With?
Yes.
What do you... Okay, so now this attack is... Now you're gonna perfect guard it, right? Now I am attacking with Lambros.
Okay, so now he's attacking with Lambros. Let's see how much time we got left on the clock. We have 12 minutes left. Do not feel that this game, with all the disconnects, I feel we will not probably see a game 3, but we'll see.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. Alright.
So that's the PG cost that he paid.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Triple drive comes in. Nothing.
Nothing. One more check. Nothing. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, deck.
The plus side is that it means that if he survives next turn, he'll have a lot of gas to play with.
That's true.
Double Coral is good, and then Narissa is good, all off of Jumbold.
Extra 3 draws is pretty insane, plus 2 G guards. I like it.
Exactly.
And he draws an extra card at the end of the turn here. It's not the worst.
Yeah.
I guess
So now it's probably time for the unboosted title.
Yeah.
This opponent's been guarding everything and hasn't hit defensive yet, so now he can go 9, 11, 17.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good lines. Again, I just don't think it wins him the game here.
Yes, this is game number 2.
No, don't boost. If he doesn't get a trigger, you can hit him again. If he gets a trigger, it doesn't matter anyway. There we go.
Hey.
There we go.
Ben over here, Malden. Please, please. No, we don't draw. We don't draw.
Ooh, Warjiggle's guarding this hard. I would be taking this, to be honest.
Yeah, you need to have a defensive trigger. 'Cause all these are now pieces that you can't use next turn now.
Yeah, because like if he hits a defensive here, then the next 2 attacks get turned off. So and he would have just been able to save himself 5k shield.
Yes.
This title assault is this whole title assault in congratulations promo is only available in Japanese. So this is the whole title assault. Just like
Flexing. The congratulations one. Nobody gets this anywhere anymore.
restand it and minus 5k. So this will be 4k plus 7. This is 11k anyway.
Unless Warjiggle's planning to guard all of this, which I think would be a mistake.
I hope he doesn't. I also hope
Yeah,
he doesn't.
because if he does that, I don't think he has enough cards in hand to do his combo.
I mean, with Hyuga, he does allow himself to like copy a whole lot of the board that Sushi Slayers has right now, but
Yeah, he can Hyuga into a Hyaki, which is not bad. I just don't think it's enough.
yeah.
So I think he's gonna take this anyway.
Title? What? I really cannot hear. I'm attacking with. Yes, I did. Then with Lamro's ability, I can restand this entire column. Now, the second battle, I attacked with Tidal Assault. The second battle, I attacked with Tidal Assault solo, and then with its ability, I restand it, and then I'll attack you again with minus 5k on it. So it's 4k plus 7 is 11 right now.
And that's kind of like one of the very interesting about these like legacy cards or the older generation cards where a lot of people like, oh, you still have more attacks coming. Wait, I thought this was like the V-Arrow one. I thought we were done. No, we're not done. We're nowhere near done.
So Warjiggle took the 4th damage, which was
Nothing.
a non-trigger again, which is very unfortunate. So the last attack here is the 17. And again, if he hadn't wasted that 5k shield earlier on the first title, like sure, this is now 10k shield, but if he had taken just the earlier 2 damage, if this next one's a trigger, it could still have made it easier to guard this title.
Yep.
So he could have saved himself a little bit more in hand.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Sushi's still not out of the woods yet, though. He still has like a whole nother turn to hope that his opponent does not have a Hyuga.
Yeah, like Warjiggle's only on 5 cards, and he PG'd with the, I don't remember the name of it, but the other grade 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think that's what he didn't want to ride. So PGing with that allows him to like chase something else. But yeah, so he's again a non-defensive, gets the other Thavas, gets another Axel, which is really helpful. So he's on 7, which is good, but still not perfect. Like if Warjiggle draws the Hyuga here, he still has the ability to like make the full combo, especially because 5 cards in hand, draws the 6, rides the Hyuga, Axel's the 7. So he's G-assisting here.
Oh god, and all these do nothing right now.
Yeah, all they are will just be discard fodder for the Hyakis that he's eventually going to pull out.
Yeah. He
So
got
he finds it, which is great, but it means that he has 2 cards, so he has to get rid of 2, so he's down to 3 cards.
He gets to draw 1 off of the Axel, so he's up to 4
Yeah.
again.
But the other problem as well is that it means that he has to Hyuga first, whereas what you really want to do is you really want to Hyaki first to fill your board with Hyakis, all of which will get plus 10k from the skills, and then turn them into Hyugas so that you can easily just new a Dio.
Yep. Correct.
But I don't think he's going to get the chance to do that here.
Let's see.
Because if he assists away the trigger and that grade 1 and leaves the 2 crit vanillas and the Tanda, which is 3 bodies on the board, and then he makes a clone with Hyuga, which puts him to 5, which is barely enough for Nue Dio. The only downside then is that it's not at all a very threatening turn because there's no central arrestor, there's no Hyaki power pumps. The best he can do is just call everything from hand and then Hyuga targeting the grade 2 Dennis or Tidal to then pull out the Miyamaru, and that's again, yeah, that's the best he can do, and it's really not that great.
No, 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 no. All right. So we do have end of round procedures here since we are coming up close to the end. So for us, it's going to be the end of round has 10 extra minutes of overtime. It goes from 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then turns into sudden death. And then if equal damage, if equal damage, and then who has the highest is the loser. That's kind of it.
Yep. So he finally gets the Haki, which is plus 100, which is we'll get the plus 10 because now it's copying Hyuga, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting he goes for the Haki rather than the Miyamaru here because that Haki is not providing an extra attack, it's just providing plus 10k in exchange for discard 1. Whereas I feel like I'd rather just go for the Soul Blast 1 for plus 5k off of the Miyamaru instead.
I guess he's doing it for the case of he wants to give the plus 10 because he also gets the 5k from flipping his what do you call it again? That great Storm Elemental, I guess.
Cyclone,
the Cyclone, yeah. I guess. But then technically he'd get the 10k anyway if he did have the Miyamaru. So
yeah.
And plus his extra 5k Interceptor. Yeah, I don't know about a Yaki either myself. I was trying to rationalize it mentally, but it's not. Yeah.
I mean, he did use the skill and just chose not to search, which, it's. I don't really get. It's just literally just counterblast 1 to just plus 10k.
I mean, I guess I'd still call it. I mean, it filters the trigger out to your deck, so you still get
exactly
to do something. I don't know. Because we didn't see any other grade 3s, so there's no reason not to call it, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how this turns out. This is going to be a very precarious turn. Those grade 2s are currently... How much now?
18s.
23, right? Because of the Storm Elemental?
No, it flips on attack. So the first time they'll just be 18, and then they'll be 23.
Ah, okay.
How much is it?
So this one's 23 because it's on the Axel.
Mm-hmm.
27? I don't.
Wait, it's 3 plus. It's 18. It's 18, right?
Yeah, it's 18.
Hello.
Unless we
We're
can.
having some connections issues again.
Unless we can count, I think it's 18. The one on Axel is 18. The one without Axel is 13. Then when Niue attacks, it's going to be flipped up. The rear guard without Axel is going to be 18. The other one's going to be 23.
Yep. I think War Jiggle's connection has dropped yet again, which is not ideal.
Nope. No, it is not.
Hello?
Yeah, we're just trying to get this sorted here, but it seems to not be coming back and forth at all.
Wait, how is it 20? How is it 27?
Oh, that's the 12k one.
Oh, it's
Oh, it's not the 2 crit vanilla. Right, okay.
Oh. That looked like the 3 crit vanilla. Oh. Okay, that's
Right,
interesting.
I mean, that's even better for Sushi Slayer then, because it means that he's not in lethal range anymore.
Yeah, then the only thing that could make this kind of weird for him is like if he hits a crit. That's it.
Yeah. But then it goes from 27 to 32, which is it's still within G guard range. So all Sushi has to do is just hit 1 trigger here, and he's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take this.
Ah,
which is not happening.
nah, that's not his
But he
last.
still has, he still has 2 G guards in his hand. One of which is probably gonna go. They'll probably both go to the vanillas when they restand.
Mhm.
42.
Oh,
Because
but
I don't think it's ever worth guarding the new Adaio here.
nope. You just eat this and hope he doesn't crit you.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but that's. He's hitting nothing so far, which is not ideal either.
Oh boy. Wait. I think I did get a glimpse of his draw. I think he drew into either the crit trigger, maybe, but I'm not sure.
I mean, if he draws the crit, that'll probably be used to guard the Hyaki.
Mhm.
I mean, one thing that Wojo can always, one thing that Sushi can always do is like double G guard the Vanguard column, and then find a way to just guard the other 3 normally, provided there's no triggers that come out.
Exactly. Huh.
The only problem is that this is 4th attack, so Ice Barrier Dragon is active here. So another thing I would have maybe considered doing is Johannes is plus 20.
Yeah.
So what he could have done was he could have G guarded the first vanilla swing with Galphili or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then gone into Johannes on the Vanguard swing, which would have been 2 to pass, which would have been really useful.
Oh, but with Nue skill, he couldn't Jigard anyway.
Yeah, no, he can because Nue only restricts from hand.
I thought Nue said you can't Jigard at all, but I'll.
Am I reading it wrong? I think if I'm, yeah, if you can't G guard the Nue, then yeah, I could be. But I thought I could.
Take a look. We'll take a quick look-see.
But either way, I probably still would have G guarded one of the first attacks just so that you're not on 4 damage on the Nue, just so you don't randomly get crit to death.
Your opponent can only call from his or her hand to guard in circle.
Right, sure. Okay then.
So yeah, then it would have been the better
Yeah,
strategy.
then you can't G guard the Nue, which in this case you definitely don't want to be on 4, no guarding a Nue Dio.
Yep. So then he probably should have just guarded the first 2 and then just taken the van. Hope not for a kit on the restand and then try to guard the rest.
Exactly.
Oh.
We should probably correct them. Hang on, let me unmute the chat.
Where it gets 10.
You can't G guard Nue Dio.
Oh yeah.
And that is time in the round.
Yeah, so he has the no guard here. So yeah, if you wanna let the players know that it's time on the round, we can start the end of time procedure.
It is currently time in the round, friends. So the active player is turn 0, 1, 2, and 3. You guys got 10 minutes.
Well, a crit could just end it here.
Yeah, I mean.
Blank. Blank.
Oh,
Heal.
heal. Okay, that is.
Oh.
Holy.
I mean that's still bad for Sushila. The heal is bad because now it means that he's gonna lose on damage. So unless he gets a massive trigger here, it's another blank. Oh no! There's no triggers this game at all. What's going on?
Nothing for him. Holy moly.
Yeah, I mean he can survive. I think still if he double G guards and then somehow blocks the last one. There's only 32, which is 25k shield. I think you want to save the G guards for the other 2 attacks because the other 2 attacks are slightly bigger.
Yep.
That's what 12, 22, 32, 37 on the Axel circle, and then 22, 32, 42 on the other column. So 42 is guarded by Johannes, who becomes 47. So you can Galphilia, the Axel circle, and then Johannes, the other column. So he just needs to find a way to make 25k shield.
Yep. And here we go.
Okay, so he's burning the G guard here. So I assume he then has the PG for the other column, most likely.
32, he got the ice barrier. So 4 for 1 battle, it gets 10k shield, so it's 27 plus 10 is 37.
So he has enough there. That's nice.
Yep. And
So,
then the Johannes can guard the other column, but then he needs to PG the Tanba lane.
so War Jiggle's currently on 4 damage, right?
Yes. So it means that War Jiggle will win through the damage comparison if we get to the end of turns.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling that, he discarded 1 for the Haki skill and he drove check 3 and he only got 1 from the Axel after the G guard. So War Jiggle only has like 5 or 6 cards in hand.
How much is
And is going to his. He can actually try to go into Alexandros here. He has enough of the pieces for it.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Like, rather than going into the Jumbolt that doesn't actually do much, the Alexandros will potentially be getting plus 10, maybe plus 15 with the other G guard. Maybe plus 20 if he flips Johannes. That's plus 20 to a title, which is going to be standing, and plus 20 if he has another Thabas or any other restander in hand. That's going to be plus 20k twice, which is going to be unguardable for War Jiggle.
Yeah. Let me take a look. Oh yeah, draws. Oh yeah, the system can draw. Okay, just making sure. But draws suck because they're basically double losses. So
Yeah.
Sag. Sag.
Yeah, I think Sushi Slayer's here just thinking about how to guard that last column because he can definitely G guard this attack with Johannes. But unfortunately, because War Jiggle's got double Tanba now, that's 17, 22, 32, 32 plus 13 is 55, which Johannes does not guard. So he either need to Johannes plus 10 from hand on that column, and then find a way to guard this 32. Oh, there it is. Yep. So he hard 37's this, and then probably Johannes for the other column.
Yeah, I think that's the best option because he cannot sacrifice the title assault. He can't. So then he would need to discard a Coral Assault because he has 2 Coral Assaults in hand. So those is probably what he's gonna be using for
the stride turn.
The stride turn.
So that pushes the Tanba up to 58.
53.
12 plus 5 plus 10 is 27. Plus 5 from Cyclone is 32. 32 plus 7 is 49. 49 plus 9 is 58, right? Am I miscounting?
I don't know. I thought so too, but I get it.
This should be 58, right?
I thought so too. So let's see for a second. So that is 27, no, 22, 27, 7, 3. Yeah, I counted 58 myself too as well. Plus a 20, right?
17?
Because of the Yaki?
Yeah.
Huh.
Plus 9.
Okay, I guess I miscounted.
Sure. I mean, either way, Johannes still doesn't guard this with just 1 card, so he still needs the extra card in hand to guard it.
Or like intercepts and like eat his board.
Yeah. I mean, he can intercept with a Dennis. That's not the end of the world.
That's gonna be so good. Because Alexandros also flips up something too as well on his own turn.
Yep. So he just needs another 10.
Yeah. No! No!
Wow, he's giving up the title. Okay, then.
No!
That's interesting.
Well, he does have the Coral Assaults, I guess, but the title can do so much more work.
The title restands, yeah. Plus, especially with the Melania, like...
he can get so much more attacks.
Yeah, it would have been 3 attacks with the plus 20. He can go on 3 attacks with the plus 20k from Alexandros. Unless he has another title in hand, we'll see, but... I don't know.
I don't know about that one, Chief. Because he can literally intercept with Dennis and pitch a Coral, I guess.
Well, the only argument is that he used the stride crit to guard the other rear guard attack. So maybe he doesn't have ways of striding. So maybe he needs to hold on to the double Coral to stride with.
Yeah, fair enough.
That is a possibility.
And don't...
Another... Oh, dear.
again. All right.
Yep. All right.
We'll have to discuss. I need to talk to him. I'll need to talk to him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he only has 2 cards in hand, and those are the corals.
Yeah, exactly. Which he's going to be discarding to stride.
So I guess Jumbled is probably the only option he has at the moment. Then
Uh,
it feels like it, at least. Unless depends
well,
on.
I mean, depends on what he top decks. He could always just discard the 2 corals to stride, top deck into, draw for turn, any attacker,
Uh-huh.
and he could still Alexandros.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nowhere near as threatening.
I mean, at least I guess the grade 2s don't have any shield value for their intercepts, so he has to guard everything from hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is so just now it was like this. So G card gets 5 tissue for each gray card I have, so it's 27 plus 20, so that's 47. It's 52, 57.
Yep.
Mhm.
So the top deck needs to be the nuts. Needs to be
Yeah.
godlike.
I mean, if it's a G Thavas or another title, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could always like Jumble is not a Jumble's fine.
But it's not something you want to do.
Yeah. So it was I forget the name, but it's basically if you're going second, it always hits.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so he's
Sorry,
just.
no, it gets a drive if your opponent's grade 3, I think, or grade 2 or something.
Ah, okay.
Oh, he goes for the Alexandros instead. Okay, interesting. I guess he's just banking on the fact that Warjiggle didn't get very good triggers, and so the plus 20k from Alexandros is going to get there.
This will be 9k to Vanguard.
So yeah, the first attack can't hit, which is a shame.
This is just 9k. If you want to guard, just go ahead.
Because Alexandros is wave 2nd or 3rd, so he needs this.
Yep.
He needs this attack to not go through, so he can restand both columns for power.
I guess the Crow does get plus 15, which is a bit bigger than title.
No, he has to have 4 rested rear guards to get plus 15.
Uh,
Yeah, so he couldn't coral here, which is a shame. So there was an argument for guarding with the coral from hand and then just trying to top deck stride fodder.
mm-hmm.
It's obviously a riskier play, but if it pays off, you definitely win. And he ended up drawing stride fodder anyway, or something to discard 4 stride. So yeah, he could have gone a bit greedy and kept the title.
If his attack is 4 or more, actually. So this is actually pretty insane.
Yeah, he's still getting 4 attacks no matter. Like he's still getting 5 attacks no matter what.
No, I mean the 15 is 4 attacks or more.
Right.
So this is still not too bad. It's not too bad. Because he still gets 35k power, which is pretty
Yeah.
okay.
So I think we have yet again more connection issues from Warjiggle here.
I think. 1 second.
Because this is 17. This is an attack. The attack is only for 17, which is easy to guard, and there it is. There's the 10k shield.
But
Yeah, and then he'll stand the Rearguard Dadvas and the Coral Assault. And then the Coral Assault will swing twice for relatively large numbers. Draw's really handy.
oh, that's really good.
Yep.
So that's another 45k. That's basically 45k power in the rear guard slot alone.
Yeah.
I think we can safely assume that this game is over, can't we?
Yep.
All right. Good. Let's see. Are there any more games that are still running at the moment? Let's take a look.
Nope, we're just waiting on this one, it seems.
Hello?
The only awkward thing here is that even if Sushi Slayer wins this match, because it's only game 2, it will end up in a draw no matter what.
Yup. Yep.
So yeah, War Jiggle took this, goes up to 5, no triggers coming in. And then he'll use Alexander's skill to stand 2, and it's got 2 attacks that War Jiggle probably can't defend against.
Nope.
Because the Thavas is 1737, which can be blocked by a G guard, but then the other column can't be blocked by a G guard.
And it'll also be restanding again.
Exactly.
Vanguard by Vanguard?
Because the coral is going to be 24, plus 10 is 34, plus 20 is 54. 54 plus 7 is 61 the first time, and then minus 7, minus 5. It's going to be 49 the second time, which is, yeah, still unguardable.
Vanguard skill.
So I think basically what War Jiggle has to do here is attempt to guard the Thavas and then pray to 6 damage heal on the coral.
Twice.
Yeah. Because Murukumo's G guards go to. I don't think Murukumo has a plus 15k shield G guard.
Not I remember, no. Oftentimes they tend to clone units you control and stuff. And
Yeah.
use those as shield value. And that's it.
So his G guard caps out at 37k total, which is enough to guard this, but not enough to guard the corals.
Mm-hmm.
Even after he gets a defensive heal.
Yep. So he does have a heal to G guard, but I don't know, Chief.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough.
Guess he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's it.
So yeah, unfortunately there is no game 3 to settle the score because of the unfortunate internet connection issues. But yeah, game 1 was it was just Murukumo does Murukumo things. Game 2 was a lot more interesting. Both players needing to G assist and seeing how that turns out. And it's Aquaforce went first, and I think the decision to play into the Lambros was a bit risky.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked out because he saw that War Jiggle didn't ride grade 3, meaning he probably didn't have the Hyuga, and that just gave him the confidence to really go for it. And it let him have that damage lead so that even when War Jiggle put forward the new Adaio turn, it was a lot weaker, which is what let Sushi Slayer survive into any of Aquaforce's much more lethal strides.
That's right, and especially since I think the double G guard was so, like you were mentioning just now, the double G guard was so nutty. So it was actually just the best thing for him to kind of just give him the extra plus 15. It was nice.
Exactly. All right, so that's going to be the end of that. I think maybe you should remind the players that there will be no game 3.
Oh. There is no game 3, sadly enough, guys. There is none. It is going to be a draw. Unfortunately, due to connecting issues from... It happens. It happens. Let's see who won the game of Echo versus Drake here real quick. Let's see. Okay, so Drake won. Cool.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Muzrax has beaten Typo King.
Alright.
Alright, so let's get round 2 underway.
Yeah. So we have War Jiggle versus Typo, and then Echo versus Sushi, and then Drake versus Mushrex.
Mm-hmm.
Which one you feeling?
Let's go have a look at Drake versus Muzrax.
Alright, cool.
Since that's the only game we have yet that hasn't had anyone on stream.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so give me screen cap this real quick and send the pairings in on the table.
Yeah, that wasn't that bad a game. I think game two was a lot more interesting. It's a shame that we never got to see a game three because, you know, assuming we didn't have a game three, Warjiggle would probably chosen to go first, attempted to draw into Huang again, and then once again tried to do Murakumo things. And so it was just a case of then how does Sushi Slayer respond to that?
Yeah, exactly. I think like one of the biggest things that I feel that goes on with premium is that oftentimes people tend to just get very demotivated whenever they see decks like Hyuga or play against decks like those. It's just sort of like,
Mhm.
but it's not the worst of the matchups that you can feel. It
Yeah.
sucks. It sucks a lot, but
Yeah.
it's not the worst.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's like, it's one of the things that I keep saying about tier 2 premium. The problem with tier 1 premium is that you have decks like Murakumo, Pale Moon, you know, uh, Genesis Loop, these decks that both A, try not to play the game so that you can't play the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then win the game without you getting the chance to do anything about that. And so when you're a new player coming in, it feels very disheartening to like be like, there was nothing I could have done. Whereas at least something like Aqua Force, you see like, okay, I see what he's doing, and I see how he gets from A to B, and there's still not a lot you can do against Aqua Force,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't just come out of left field
Yeah.
like Murakumo does.
Yeah. There's a little like a leeway time as long as like you read some of the cards and take a look at some of the pieces that goes into their
Exactly.
damage and stuff like that. You can kind of piece together what their game plan is.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas something like Noe, you literally need to be knowledgeable of the clan and what it can exactly do
Yeah.
for you to be prepared for it. Which is something I hope that some content creators like yourself can do in the future. Sort of like, just give, sort of like a quick introduction lesson to decks and
Mhm.
what they do
Yeah,
and how to play against them. I think that'd be a fun
exactly.
series.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's see. Alright.
So just give him a few minutes to set up, and then
Mhm.
we'll be underway shortly.
Yep. Because I also need to change their names and stuff too as well.
Okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
Gonna like also reduce.
So can you see my field clearly?
Alright, gonna reduce their volume by a tiny bit. Drake isn't connected yet, it seems.
Wait, he's come up on my screen, so I can see Dracara's playing DI.
Oh dear God.
Is, as you were just saying, one of those slightly antisocial combo decks.
Oh. Let's see then.
Let's see what Muzrax is playing.
He is a team member of Crushing the Meta, actually. So he's
Okay.
He predominantly plays a whole lot of gear stuff. So I'll be interested to see whether or not he brought gears today.
Okay.
Somebody in the chat really excited for it. Not for gears, but for DI especially.
So can you see my field?
I didn't forget to update the player names. I'm currently doing it right now.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
I think we're having some sound issues from Dracara potentially.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think you can hear him.
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Hell yeah, nice.
Camera angle's not ideal.
Drakara, could you fix your camera angle a tiny little bit? Because we can't really see too much of your play area or your board. Like, I don't know what kind of camera you have, if it's laptop or not. I don't know if you can hear us or not.
I mean, also, if he's saying anything, we can barely hear him.
There we go. That's a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks like Infinite Zero over there on his screen. So I guess he's playing some Vanguard Zero. Have you been able to get back into the game at all, Eddie? Or
A little bit. Just been doing the dailies on JP. Global is I'm a bit too far behind on global so I've kind of just abandoned it.
fair enough. He nearly had it. He nearly had it. He just needed to tilt up a tiny bit. Could you tilt it up just a tiny bit, just like a smidge, just like a micro smidge, just like a little bit more, tiny bit more.
Don't know if you can even hear us.
I don't think. I think you can hear the stream though. So if you can hear the stream.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, there we go. Nice. Hello?
Can you hear us?
I don't think he has a default audio input set up. You'd never seen Premium DI in action, that's why you're hyped. It's a very interesting deck.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see like the exact list and the way his list is being built here.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of tech options for premium DI, like things like number of Bobos you play, your exact grade 1 lineup, and the way you approach the stride turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like the immediate first thing we can see is that he's playing the regular V starter rather than starting with the assassin. So he's trying to go for like that early game like consistency and plussing here rather than guaranteed having the assassin for the combo.
I think that works, right? That feels like a lot of yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah, that looks good. All right, good. That's good. That's good.
But can you hear me?
And I think we can start with this, right?
I think there's wait a bit. I think Dracaris still can't hear us. Just waiting for that. So let's just make sure that they can hear it. Let's make sure the communication works. Because we can hear like him typing on his keyboard, but he seems to not be responding to any of us. So it's gonna be awkward if we say, you can start, and then he can't hear that we can start.
Or even what his opponent is saying, or gesturing,
Yeah.
or all that type of stuff. I think this is like almost always what would happen at events, right? Like anything that's streamed or whatever. There's always gonna be some form of like technical difficulty or something. Always has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I can.
I think he still can't hear us. I think he's trying to. Oh, he's trying to. It looks like he's trying to join on mobile Discord with another account.
You can hear us? Is that possible?
Oh yeah, he's using. Okay, he might want to like.
Yeah, I think he's trying to join on mobile Discord as the connection, and he's just using his PC as camera only.
Ah, like.
So let's wait a little bit.
Yeah, sure, I will.
But in the meantime, let's talk about DI. Well, like, you've been testing a whole lot against it. What are some of the best options that you felt in your own test sessions, playing the deck and playing against it, that you feel allows you to, have a good game against it?
It's very meta dependent because DI, the core of what DI needs to get going is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as you play things that soul charge, like your Dimension Creepers, your Killer Tails, and so on and so forth, the combo itself actually sets itself up really easily. All you're worried about is like being damage denied. So like like trying to find slots for Bobo, trying to find slots for Huang is the only hard part there. I think is, but yeah, like, number of Rhodias you play, your grade 3 lineup can always change because I was for the longest time people were playing like 4 NLK, some number of Shaharat, some number of Terra, maybe some Brufus.
Hello?
Whereas
We can hear
you could maybe want to bump up the ratios of Shaharats because Shaharat is already good going first, right? You can just ride up Shaharat and do things. And then if you're playing Shaharats, it makes sense to play number of Terras, but then you don't have space to play Brufuses and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and Brufus allows you to search, which is very helpful if you want to get like extra pieces into your soul.
Exactly. So in my list, I've cut the Brufus, which obviously makes it a little bit harder to get to the soul you need.
Mm-hmm.
But it means that if you get to the soul you need through things like Emblem Master, the new clan selection pieces, which are very, very, very good,
Yeah.
then it means that your combo, like your actual kill turn, becomes way, way stronger because now you can gas deal to copy NLK and Shaharet
Mm-hmm.
to restand the entire board, and then NLK back into another Shaharet to get an extra additional front row restand.
Have you tried the hard leg engine?
I have not. I think it requires a bit too many pieces because the problem with hard leg is that it itself does not soul charge,
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
and everything else needs the soul charge.
I can hear you, man.
The thing
Yeah,
is,
so it seems like he still can't hear us.
I think it's literally comes down to the fact that he probably doesn't have. Maybe he has his Discord muted on his PC or whatever thing that he's using, or he has it so his output is, or sorry, his input is off.
Okay, he now he can hear us.
Oh,
Okay,
God
that's
bless. Okay, Papa bless. All right, good.
great. All right.
All right, fighters. Good luck, have fun, and welcome to round 2. You may begin.
Do you want one?
That took a while, guys, but we got there.
Yeah.
That's hot.
I have 2d6s. Okay. Shall I just roll for you then? Okay, I will just do for myself first. Ice begins, okay? Oh, this is a 7. And this is a 8. So you begin.
All right. So Di goes first. So again, we'll see if he's playing the Shahara or not. If he's playing the Shahara, it means that he has the options to go first and do stuff. Because, or if he opens the Rhodia, Rhodia lets him play the Grade 2 game very effectively.
Because
Mulligan's 2.
a cute little nifty NLK trick that you can also do by denying your opponent is then writing down into it, which is just not something you tend to see too often. I think Gears can do it to some degree, but it's something that's very specific to Dark Zone, which I find kind of insane, or Dark States.
Yeah, that's also very powerful. Like, it's much harder to get to 13 soul without striding, but it is possible. But yeah, if he rides, like, if he goes from Rhodia into NLK and back down to Rhodia, that puts a lot of pressure on Muzrax's deck.
Yep.
So he rides the Creeper, which is probably one of the best rides you can ask for in the deck. And yeah, Muzrax is playing Gears, which is going to be very difficult because
I get a crit shield.
he's playing. It looks like he's going to be playing Standard Plus sort of style, which is much worse at going first because we don't have the Time Leaper from the clan selection yet.
Nope.
So if Drakera like chooses to like Grade 2 game or NLK back down into Rhodia, then Muzrax is pretty much stuck on a vanilla like probably Metallica Phoenix or maybe Rebellion turn, which is definitely not what he wants to be on.
I think from what I remembered from the last time that he took part, or the last time that I tested with him against this list, is that he was playing more of a time leap variant with Tempest Spheres and stuff. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. But yeah, we also saw that Muzrax just passed turn, choosing not to give DI damage, which is definitely correct.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the downside, it would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see Drakera put down a rear guard just that he can have like in case Muzrax gives him the damage, he could have used the Emblem Master instead of just having a vanilla ride.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't turn out too bad. He gets the save cards in hand, and Muzrax isn't losing value because he rode the Chronotooth. It just means that the only thing I'm concerned about here is that the damage denial plan is not super effective because I don't think Gear Chronicle has a reliable way of 0 to 6ing. So it's gonna be even if he like gets the stride turn, he's not dead.
You saw my entire hand?
I don't know if he's gonna be able to do much to like stay alive. Although we did see the heal trigger in his hand, so you can always the heal triggers are good, but they're not good enough because he's going second, and he does have the Tempest Sphere that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's using just the damage and eye. Not even choosing to use Temper Sphere, which is quite interesting. But he's just gonna keep damage denying here. So Dracera can't Shahar it. But instead Dracera goes for an aggressive turn with Yellow Bolt and just kill a tail.
That
And he's just gonna try and rush down
that
Gears,
is
which I think is definitely correct.
yeah, it's correct, but it could be also pretty dangerous as well.
I don't think so because, you know, as we said, Gears doesn't
Mhm.
really have much gas going first without Time Leaper.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, Muzrax either has to give up the first stride, which leads him to potentially maybe die,
Point damage.
Yeah.
or he plays the Grade 2 game back, which in this case, DI is still doing better at.
Yeah, fair.
Because like, even if he rides Grade 3 and swings at the rear guard, Jakera's just building his engine, you know, building a beat board, getting his advantages. And sure, he won't have Counterblast, so he can't gas steal,
Correct.
but it's still time for DI to set up. And I think Gear Chronicle doesn't farm enough cards compared to other
Second draw trigger. How would you find?
like G based, like stride based decks to make up for that.
True. Something like Harry or something like Thavas, like what we just saw before
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Yeah. I got you.
And the other awkward thing as well is that if Dracera does actually have Bobos, then the game could also just end right here.
I wonder if he's considering here.
Yeah, so the question is, obviously I don't see his list, so I don't know if Dracera's running or not, but there is a stride that doesn't cost any counterblast. It's called Freiheit, and it adds cards from soul to hand.
I thought
So-
Simplify would already pass me the list. I'll ask him for the lists.
Yeah, so like, you know, it would let him set up, like, going into Freiheit here with no damage is fine because it just lets him set up for an even bigger gas steal turn. The question is if he even strides. So he's choosing not to stride, so that means to me that he is striding, okay.
Yeah, he's gonna pitch the crit. Oh no,
The
Brufus.
Brufus.
Ooh.
Right, so he is playing Brufus. Okay, that's an interesting choice. He goes into the gas steal anyway. So that says to me that he doesn't have Freiheits.
Oh, hey.
So that's a bit of a potential weakness with his list here. It's kind of an old style list. So he's got Creepers activating in. So I guess he's just going for a little bit of power here, just to do what he can.
Oh, looks like it's just a vanilla swing.
It seems so.
So using.
He can afford to do it because he's on 0 damage.
Mhm.
Nice just to see how much.
And Gear Chronicle doesn't have that much like kill potential in the early game. But at the same time, I think, you know, if it gets like the second or third stride, DI starts to lose a lot of its like threat potential. So we'll see how far he can get off this turn, and whether or not he can try and push the game next turn or not.
Because this turn he just used the Killatil to put the creeper that he just soul blasted, and he just got another +6, so this is a +12 column. So he's gonna be swinging for
Plus 15, because the creeper itself soul charges.
Oh yeah.
22 white, so this is 23. That's okay.
Yep.
Trying to maybe hit some stand triggers here would be pretty helpful.
So he's gonna go for PG here. He doesn't want to get insta-gibbed. He's gonna
He drops the Temper Sphere, which has now lost value.
Mm-hmm. So draw trigger.
So yeah, it's a very vanilla turn. It's not awful. It just is not very good.
No, it isn't. But he does still have him on 3 damage, so I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, and as we saw from the G assist, Muzrax does have heals in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably going to be saving those G guards for Hetero rounds for the big gas deal turn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you have Assassin Sword? Do you have Enigmatic Assassin Sword? So
Okay.
only 1 damage, right?
So I guess he's just considering whether or not to take this damage. Yep,
Yep.
he will. Alright, let's see if we can claw his way into this game.
Yep.
Okay. Let's get some Melum here. He's gonna pitch for stride.
Right? Okay.
Yep, since it counts itself as a grade 3.
Yep. It's a history build.
Okay,
Mhm.
let me think.
I
So if he has the Melon TikTok combo in hand, it can be pretty solid.
I don't know about getting rid of the Temposphere though, if I'm being honest. Because of course, yeah, it did kinda lose a bit of value, but you don't get to leap an extra unit.
Yeah, but I mean, he already has the heals in hand, so it would like given that he already has 2 heals, it's probably going to be a neg because he's
Mhm.
just discarding a card just for the plus extra attack, which, and like we said, because he's not dying this turn, it's not really doing much.
Give it a skill.
So yeah, we see Mazrax committing here, going for the aggro. This is the Melon on its own without the TikTok.
I will immediately search after, so I will. Search
All right,
after
so
my finger.
you're gonna kind of have to tilt your head a little bit for this.
Yeah, he has to
Wait.
really reach.
This will
Yeah.
remove that.
So essentially this. Hopefully that link opens.
That the link does not open.
All right, give me a minute. Let me open it in the other one. All right. Copy this.
Yeah, the for-
Then skill.
the benefit here is that the forces make Melon actually hit. Melon without forces would only be 11 against 12, which wouldn't do much.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so let me have a look at. So we see Drakera's list. Let's have a look. So he's just playing a pretty standard. Oh, he's only playing 8 grade 3s. Interesting. No Number of Terror, no Hope on Damp. He's playing a lot more grade 2s at the aggressive. Oh, he's playing 2. No, he's playing 2 Master of Fifth Element. So yeah, he's got no Shaharats in this list. This looks like quite an old list. I don't know if that's going to work for or against him here.
This attacks 41.
He's got a few other weird soul charging pieces. 4 draw triggers, I think, is
Interesting.
could come back to bite him in the ass as well.
All right.
He doesn't have strike crits either, which is quite unfortunate. Would have liked to see those. Everything else seems pretty straightforward. Rhodias, yep. Those look like Ruthvens behind the NLK. Yeah, so it's pretty standard. Like it looks like the 2019 version of Shaharat.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not of NLK, which is not terrible. Like I think it'd still work. I just think it might not have as much. It might have as much reach or potential as the newer list. And then looking at Muzrax, looks like it looks like pretty standard time leap.
TikTok goes into this one.
Yep, time leaps the Melon into a history maker. No, he has nothing to time leap actually. Oh no, you can time leap the Wata that he eventually pulls out. Yeah, from the Melon skill, and then he can build the history maker into under grade 3 and go for from there, which is decent. But again, like I said, it's not. He's not threatening the game this turn, which is the only
Nope.
concern.
I don't know if I would call the history maker in that column.
I think you have to because it doesn't hit numbers otherwise.
It actually gets +6 now. History build gives +3.
Right, +3, yeah.
So this is 35.
It's 15, not 12, because it also counts the Vanguard Circle too.
Right. Well, he's only got 1 history build, right?
2. The one on the Vanguard Circle counts too. Vanguard Circle and G-Zone. So it's
Right,
+6.
but they're plus 3k each. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then 15. Yeah. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not great either. Is the only problem here.
Mm-hmm.
Skill.
So yeah, like Mozrax has a pretty sizable hand, but it's not a huge hand. Wata's only a +1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it came down from the fact that he still had to build a board out of nothing from his hand, rather than say like Aquaforce, which just builds a board from deck or something like that, or compared to like Gold Paladin, which can constantly draw cards to fill the board.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't like, even though he has 2 G guards, and he does have 2 Hetero around, I don't know if it's enough to keep him alive.
me see if I can try to add the deck in here. Dark. Yeah, I can. Nice. Nice.
So here's the gas steel turn finally going off. Again, like I said, because Drakera doesn't have Shaharets, he has to add NLK and Brufus and then NLK into Master of Fifth Element,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Which
not an
you could do so
it's not an ideal line. It's fine, but it's not ideal. Oh, he just goes in with the Master of Fifth Element. Okay, interesting.
Brufus and Elements. Okay.
I guess he's just trying to restand Vanguard rather than NLK into Fifth Element. I understand.
But you don't really agree with it.
No, yeah,
You don't
like,
really agree with it.
because the thing is, Hetero Round replaces itself.
Yes.
So it's not like Denial Griffin, where if you get Denial Griffin, you can't NLK. Like, if he Hetero Rounds you, you can still NLK. The attack just won't be as big.
Yeah.
And I think you need to have that NLK, like the extra one, like NLK gives you an extra 2 drives, and I think that's what matters in terms of getting the damage you need. Because he's gonna lose his hand to Fifth Element no matter what, so he's definitely dead next turn no matter what. I'm just not sure why he hasn't gone for the NLK here. Basically, it's basically extra attacks that cost him nothing.
But we see how this turns out. Because I do agree with you, but I mean, he is playing a older variant of the DI list, so maybe he does have a different way of trying out to figure out that style. But we'll see.
Interested why he swaps the Yellow Bolt with the Emblem Master.
Wait, which card was that? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because I guess if he's not going for NLK, then he doesn't need to eat the Yellow Bolt, and so it is the bigger attacker for now. But like I said, if he had just gas steeled for an NLK, he would have boosted the Emblem Master with the Yellow Bolt anyway, and then consumed it with NLK, and it would have worked out the same no matter what.
Mm-hmm. I guess he wants per soul charge to give it more power. I guess per unit. I don't see it either.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know either. It's still a 10k interceptor, but a soul boss, and his deck is also getting pretty low. So that he also needs to be careful of.
Oh, that's not a concern. He can always go into what's his name, Blade of Mouse.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I mean, this turn.
Yeah.
This turn.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was I think there's only 10 cards left, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I don't like about this turn is that he's going for this generate a lot of soul and make Gasteel pump the front row really huge play,
Mhm.
which all Musrax has to do is Hetero round one of them, and then you lose all that power for no reason. So it's. And if you're going to lose the power in the rear guards anyway, it would have been better to just go straight for the NLK and just NLK into NLK for more attacks. Because I think Drakera still doesn't have an Assassin in Soul.
No, I don't think he does.
Yeah,
Because he does play it, right?
I actually don't see the Assassin in his list. Yeah, I actually can't see an Assassin on his deck list image.
66?
Okay, so I guess he just doesn't at all.
Yeah, which is also very weird because it's losing the Assassin means that he no longer has the option of the double NLK line, which would have been a lot more, in my opinion, safe than the Master of Fifth Element.
I guess that's probably the reason why. That's probably the reason why he does it then.
Yeah.
That's the one that's boosting right now.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, right? Yeah, he pumped all this power into the Yellow Bolt just for it to go away. Whereas it would have been worth to just, if he pumps them evenly,
Mm-hmm.
the Fifth Element, sorry, the Emblem Master would still have hit, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because this is 18 plus 15.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It becomes easier to guard rather than having a huge Emblem Master that still needs to be guarded. and he loses a bit of. He just loses a lot of reach from not NLK.
Which medal?
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
So this hitting for a crit, I guess. Now he's gonna be able to PG this.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of his columns are gonna restand here.
But again, his columns aren't that threatening because all he's done is pump the back row, not the front row.
At the beginning or any attacks? Yes. Mofo is at the beginning when he attacks. It's not at the end of the battle, it's when he attacks. You have to discard one.
Yeah, and Drakera's also missed the timing for Master of Fifth Element.
Drake,
Let me-
you missed the timing for it, buddy.
You missed the time. My turn?
Yeah, I think this is a case of just Drakera's just not very experienced in knowing how the deck functions. The fact that he went for the Fifth Element instead of NLKing for Fifth Element, he just lost like what? He could have had 5 more attacks this turn, and that might have actually killed Mozarax, but instead he's just done nothing, and now the Gear Groovy is probably going to kill him.
Yeah, highly likely, yeah.
4 or 5?
He has 4 cards left in deck as well, so he can't really.
Use the
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Ragnarok? Yeah.
Yeah. No, he can't use the draw PGs that he has in hand either.
We'll copy Ragnarok.
That's funny.
Distribute, which I will put in front of him. 4. Then he has now the time skill from distribute, so he gains 9k.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the 5k he gets on himself, so that's 9 plus 4 is 14. So I will just put a.
Yeah, that is mega lethal.
Mm-hmm. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
This is third one.
He's got 6 attacks coming this turn, and the Ragnarok just guarantees the inability to guard. I don't think that's going to keep him alive here.
No, it's not. It's not. It puts him on 5
Because
damage.
the Gear Groovy is what? 28, 38, 45?
Mm-hmm.
No, 43, which I don't think DI's G Guard makes him 27. Okay, the G Guard gets him to 1 to pass.
25 skill. Time.
Yeah, the G Guard makes him 1 to pass, but I don't think that's enough.
So Orator skill.
Let's see.
Yeah, so it's a shame to whoever was in chat that was saying they really want to like hype to see DI in action. You unfortunately saw DI at its worst rather than DI at its best.
Yep. Which is.
It's,
It's a shame. The deck actually performs really, really, really well. It was just a matter of smaller missequencing here and there.
yeah. And that's the thing about DI is that even though, like, I think DI is actually not even close to tier 1 in current premium, but the fact that it's still only tier 2 in current premium, if the pilot knows what they're doing and they know how the deck functions, they can do very well with it, because it's a very technical deck and it needs you need to do a lot of small things correctly to get the deck to operate at its maximum efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he does have 10k intercepts, which is not bad, but you know, the fact that he like Mof over Shahara just means that you lose all that defensive power that you would have otherwise farmed off, like, say, a double NLK. Yeah, now that Mozarax has the ability to like repeatedly mill him into Urwatar.
I can time limit up to the sum of units face of a Magician, and as you can see, that's about 2 for
Everything. Just everything.
Yeah.
But
Give me 1 second.
Although one of those history builds isn't face up.
So that is a grade 2.
I will remind him that.
I need my entire.
Yep.
Wait.
Oh, he put it in front of his Vanguard.
Yeah, I need it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The Ragnar clock is face up, but the history build isn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll remind him of that like at the end of turn just to be sure. But
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see if Muzrax misses his timing as well because he needs the Ragnar clock at some point soon as well. Because Ragnar clock's also on attack.
Yep.
If he forgets the Ragnar clock, then Dracarys can just PG and survive.
And give me 1 second. Because Urwartar is on standby. So I have Urwartar. One. Triple card back. And since my option like this. And then I can still activate Ragnar clock. So no
Okay,
negative
so he didn't forget it.
So he hasn't forgotten the Ragnar clock.
Yeah, because this battle, I mean, sorry.
So he can still G guard the Ragnar clock for. I think he can probably get to 2 to pass if he intercepts here as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, 40.
It's not the end of the world. It's also very interesting how Muzrax chose to put down a Chronojet on the back row rather than placing the I don't remember the name, but the giftless grade 3 that has an on place bind a card from hand to force your opponent to guard with 2 cards every turn.
I think he only plays one copy of it, and it might have gone to damage, or he drew into
Right.
it, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't paying attention to what he has, but so the G guard makes him 1 to pass.
Yeah.
Because he's 22 plus 20 is 42.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's 42 to 38, which is 1 to pass at the moment. Oh, is that Vincent? Oh, that's Vincent, right?
That's higher, right? It's 25.
Yes, it's plus 5. It's plus 5 for every 5 in Soul.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget that G God exists because people don't usually play that. So he's 22 plus 15 is
Ah, okay, cool.
yeah 52, which is
20k.
2 to pass still. Yeah.
Okay, let's go. First, second,
Nothing.
third. Nothing.
All right, that's not bad. He has a chance.
How many cards do you have in hand? How many cards do you have in hand?
5 cards in hand still.
This is.
He's only got 3 attacks to protect against. Yep. So that's enough. 32. Yeah. And then he guards the time leap column, which is 17 plus 6. No, plus 9. It's 26, which is still intercept for guard. And then it turns that into a mana, which is another 31. Yeah, so he should be fine to, as long as you have 10k for this, he should be fine on this. The only problem now is that because he has such low cards in deck, he's being forced to stride to Blade of Mouse next turn, and Mozrax has just like gone plus 3 off of the repeated Awatars.
And if he does draw
That's what
into
we're saying
another,
about how the fact that he didn't reach for his full combo and try to win the game last turn is really like, it's really hurting his win potential here.
so it makes him 32.
Yep. And just intercept again.
Or another 10k guard from hand.
What did you say? It's attack for 31 now.
He just guards from hand. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Skill.
I guess he could try get Gear Cat if he has a heal in hand.
Okay.
No.
No. Okay, he just goes for that
So
instead.
he gave me 1
Interesting.
moment to,
Hmm.
reverse
I mean,
the
he he definitely does still have one heal in hand because you saw him GSS with two.
Hold on deck. Hold on deck.
So yeah, everything goes back, resolves, and just quickly remind him. Just a reminder that history build in front of your Vanguard is still face down.
No, this is face up.
Did you? I thought you flipped Ragnar Clock for it, the Gear Groovy skill.
Yeah, I flipped the face up, but I flipped this face up because of history build's own skill. So I have two right here. So I had two at the beginning, and I picked one to put it in front of it, and then I flipped one up.
Oh, for its cost. Okay, sure, that's what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
And then I would just put it in front on top of it just because it's simple.
So I'm not sure if Drakera even has the ability to stride here. He has to go into Blader Mouse to not die. And I think Blader Mouse doesn't keep him alive.
Nope. I mean, he does get like a potential restart. Maybe he hit some heals, I guess. He did call the Moth, I guess.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about this.
Oh, okay. He just kind
He
of
just kills. He
yeah.
just gives up. It's a shame.
He wanted to go out on his own terms.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Have you ever decked out anybody?
Yeah, many times.
Give me 1 second to.
It's easier in some decks than others.
Oh. Any scenario
So like
examples?
there was a build of Glendios floating around for a while that instead of actually trying to win on Glendios, it just decked your opponent out because there was the Glendio Stride that locks 5 from top of deck,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Grey 2s that lock from top of deck. So you
Ah.
just go through it. Yeah, you just stride that a bunch of times, and your opponent would just like lose 20 cards from deck for no reason. There's also the Genesis build, obviously, that relies on just reusing Melissa over and over again.
Yes.
It's pretty good as well.
What do you think of like alternate win condition decks?
I love them. They're just not very good.
Yeah. Since a lot of game designers tend to or tend to like a lot more of the damage dealing damage sort of decks, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so Drakera's choosing to go first again, which I'm not a fan of because it means that he has to play the Grade 2 game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, forcing Gears to go first is really good because Gears has a much worse Grade 2 game than DI. But you definitely don't want to be giving Gears the first stride because then they'll just start going for the Watar loop and just plussing and survive whatever combo you can throw at them. And G-guarding into the first stride doesn't affect DI very much because you don't care about the number of cards face up. You just care about having damage to go for it with.
Let's see. It looks like he's deciding his mulligan here. Whew, 3-back. Woof.
Yeah, I think like we're probably gonna see like the results of Drakera's deck not being a very optimal list
Mm-hmm.
really start to like affect him here in this game because he has Rhodias, sure, but Rhodia is not enough unless you have other pieces, and he has some of them but not enough pieces. So like he has no Bobo, he only has 2 Ruthven. Like he's only playing 9 Grade 2s total, so it's gonna be a lot harder for him to play the Grade 2 game.
And since we take a look at Moshrex's list, his is more refined for playing. Like, since a lot of his units are also on 10Ks, it's going to be hard for him to actually push any pressure or push any damage, really, in comparison to, like, other lists that runs, like, Rhodas and stuff like that that can actually hit harder.
Exactly, and that's kind of why I would have just chosen to go on second, because he's playing... Drakera's playing the new Yellow Bolt, so he doesn't have a 7k to just ride and tap and soul charge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much harder for him to swing under.
Mm-hmm.
So by going second, it means that it's impossible for Muzrax to swing under here. Whereas if he goes first, it's actually possible by, you ride a 9k and then Muzrax just chooses not to ride. And it's like you take away a lot of that pressure from him.
So it looks like he's currently deciding his turn a little bit. He's going to be riding the Executioner.
No guard.
Yeah, he's another vanilla Emblem Master.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Emblem Master, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he expects to be damage denied, so I guess he doesn't call anything to clone, which is fine. It's just not ideal, but it's fine. Again, we'll just have to see like how is he going to fight for the first stride, and will he actually be able to combo on that first stride and push for game?
And hopefully he remembers his moth triggers this time.
Yeah. So Muzrax now has the history build on Vanguard Circle, which is not bad.
Tempest Sphere.
Oh, he's going
He commits to the early Tempest Sphere this time. We'll see how that works out. Grabbing some heals is fine. The only concern is that
Okay.
because he no longer has the because he doesn't have the pressure of first stride, like the heal trigger is going to be much less threatening.
Mm-hmm. So he did not find it, but he does have plus 3k to his Vanguard, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think it makes a huge world of difference here. It's like, if any, it doesn't really help him play the Grade 2 game. So we'll have to see, like, if he's just going to pass turn again, how does that play out for him?
Oh, I guess he goes into Melon.
Because I will give it 4K.
Okay, so he's committing early with the damage. I guess he's trying to Melon for Gear Cat,
Then I can take damage.
knowing that because he's probably going to get first stride, he can always like Gear Cat into a hetero round, and that will give him a big defensive. Again, the only problem is that becomes very wasted if Drakera just chooses to play the Grade 2 game, or even rides Brufus. That could be really threatening.
Yep. Oh, it looks like he's
But
calling.
instead, it's just Urwata, yeah.
Okay. So if he does get played a Grade 2 game on him, I think then he can actually still play it back, right? Because then all he needs is just a History Maker, and that History Maker just keeps on poking it for 11 every single time.
Yeah, and because he has the Tempest Sphere, like the Urwata will now activate, so he can he can just Grade 2 game with the History Maker and draw cards every turn and keep him going.
Hold on, the heal
The
too.
heal trigger's really annoying there for Drakera. Yeah. So now that he has 2 damage, it's like he doesn't want to give up the first stride here.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's got the damage deficit, he can't really afford to spend too long playing Grade 2 game against Muzrax. So I think this is just going it was an already shaky decision, and it's just going downhill from here.
Oh, it looks like he chose not to ride up.
9. My finger is 9.
No, he was asking what his power was. All right.
Yeah.
No guard.
I think I ride up if I was Musrex. There's no reason not to.
1 damage?
Yeah, because now that you have the heal, you the G guard can now make a difference. And healing off the damage means that you're now at much lower threat of dying to the gas steel combo.
Mm-hmm.
My turn.
Yeah, he just gets the damage that he can go for his History Maker combos if he so wants.
See both of them being on 2 damage.
Mhm.
He's taking his turn. I guess he's considering what he was gonna do. Oh, okay. So I guess he's. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he just uses not to ride, which I think makes sense because now that he has Counterblast for the History Makers, he can just spiral the card advantage out of control here.
Are you sure with this? Because the extra force marker does make it a little sexy though. Because you can also.
The Force Marker is great for sure, but I think the thing is, when you're drawing cards with History Maker Urwata every turn,
Mhm.
it's going to be much harder for Drakera to keep up compared to just giving him the win condition of Gear Chronicle is much more flexible than the win condition of DI.
Mhm.
So it means that if every turn that Drakera doesn't spend going for combo
Mhm.
is a turn that Muzrax gets to spend drawing cards to survive combo.
Ah.
So the pressure is never on Muzrax to advance the game state.
Okay, I got you. I thought since he could have gone into force marker attack with Urtar, since that actually hits now, he could have gotten a potential extra attack off of it.
This 11.
Oh yeah, it would have been a bit more aggressive pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's not winning this turn. Like, he's already giving Drakera a bunch of counterblast, which is already slightly concerning. And it means that if he rode up this turn and didn't get like a sufficient plus, like couldn't find a PG, couldn't find a second G guard, there was a real chance of like being completely dead in the water after the big Gastille combo. I think that's kind of what he's playing around.
I'm gonna draw a card, so this is 22 to the finger.
Whereas he can melt him into the Premium Collection crit and just like get all the pluses he needs, while still being safe from Gastille because Drakera can't stride yet.
So that is one to pass.
That's 29 then, right?
Yep, that's one to pass.
Yeah, and I'm 22. What touch? That doesn't pass, I think. Because that's a tech 8 plus.
5k shield, yeah, it's not enough.
Not enough, but he could stand.
7. So yeah, so it doesn't pass, so I will give it to the rear card. And then this attacks for 17 to your rear.
Yep.
So, your turn.
So what he really needs now is he needs to write NLK, not Brufus, and try to NLK down into the Rhodia, the play we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, staying on the Brufus now means that Muzrex is going to be able to stride, which is really bad for Drakera.
Thankfully, though, the History Maker will probably get retired here by the Brufus, so he's not in any immediate danger, or does it need a soul requirement to retire?
I think you need the soul requirement to retire.
Oh gosh.
I mean, he can get there with the Brufus skill to counterblast 1.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be the end of the world. Like I said, it's just not
ideal.
Yeah, because he's not drawing enough cards, and the crit pressure doesn't do enough. Like, all it does is give Musrax 1 extra counterblast to play with, which turns into another History Maker attack later down the line, which is fine. It's just a case of I don't see Drakera winning the game next turn because Musrax will get to stride and just farm hand, and at the same time I don't see Musrax doing much else. That sorry, Drakera's not pressuring Musrax here. Is the bottom line of what I'm trying to get to.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. He seems to be trying to build towards something that's just not there yet, more or less.
Exactly.
Alright. He does get to hit some dimensional creepers into the soul, though, which is kind of sexy. So his soul is kind of stacked.
Yeah, but as we've seen from the list, he's not playing assassins, so he doesn't have that reach.
Would you still think that assassin's pretty fine right now in premium?
Yeah, I think it doesn't break. Like, honestly, the main problem with DI right now is that NLK extends for free. So probably the thing that needs to be banned right now is the grade 4 Gastille, because it just means that any dark states grade 3 they print from now on is potentially very dangerous.
Not even violence, Bruce.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, Violence Bruce is basically just Shaharet, but costs Soul Blast instead of Counter Blast.
Yeah.
Which means that instead of needing 3 Counter Blasts for the full combo, DI only needs 2 Counter Blast.
True.
Do you have 2 grade 3s in your soul? Then retire 1 of your rear cards, please.
Yeah, and this is the awkward play here, which is that the way he attacked let him intercept before retiring, so he ends up losing his booster for no reason.
Yep. Which also kind of.
It's gonna make it harder for him to NLK next turn.
Oh, his Gearcat's gone. Ooh. The rest of the hand needs to be pretty.
Yeah, it says PG.
Yeah, he PG'd.
Yep. So there's the Rhodia.
Yeah, he wanted.
So if he had the NLK, he would have been able to NLK down to the Rhodia really safely, which would have been a much better line of play than sitting on this Brufus that doesn't do much.
Alright, I mean, first. Before I strike. Strike.
So the history build comes in. It will time leap 2 units this time, which will be a board reset. And with only 10 cards in hand, I think there is a chance that Drakera might just die.
Oh dear God.
Interesting.
Oh dear. This is gonna be. this is gonna be a very interesting turn. Holy. Wait, but then I guess with how his hand was, he didn't have any other choice. I guess.
I don't know about that. I mean,
What will you choose here instead?
I probably just wouldn't have committed that hard. I probably would have just gone into a regular, like, what?
Yes, okay.
I probably would have gone into Grogrok this turn, actually.
Because I have one face with my Jizen and one face with Morphe. So this is 16, 15 plus 11 is 26, the very skill.
Because he doesn't have Melems to go for. Like, he can time leap this into the Melem, and then Melem into the Watar, and then history build the Watar into another Melem. But, he's still down one attack because he doesn't have the initial Melem. It's the only concern. The heal trigger is huge.
Because that stems the bleeding a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mozarax has 2 cards in hand. He'll go to 5 with the drive checks, 6 with the Watar.
Thanks. Soul Blast. Flip.
And then
Then I time leap my cards in the front row because I have 2 face up.
yeah, and then TikTok turns it into another history maker, which it's really not ideal here, is the only concern.
Do I do it in this order?
Yeah, it's really weird that he goes for the Chronojet rather than
And then Overtoss.
The grade 3 that guard restricts.
exactly.
I don't know. I guess it commits too much cards from his hand. He only has 2 cards in hand. I guess he's like, I really don't want to get rid of those right now.
Yeah, I suppose.
So this is currently plus 9 is 37.
The only problem, as well as that, the other problem is that he's put the Chronojet on the force marker, which means that this Melem's not going to hit, and then when he time leaps the Melem into the history maker to time leap the Watar, that's not going to hit either.
Oh, he only has one. He only had one open counter blast going into the turn. He didn't take the damage from last turn.
Yeah. So he couldn't have history maker the second time anyway. Yeah.
No.
But this is what I mean. Like, the Melem's now doing pretty much nothing.
No, that might become a gear cat though. So he's probably gonna just attack with those 2, and that's it.
No, it can't become a gear cat because he's only playing one in his list, and he dropped it for PG earlier.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay.
Yep. Premium collection crit doesn't work either because his Vanguard's already attacked. So yeah, again, at this point, like, there's not really much to do here.
No, there isn't. I wonder what his hand is that he could commit anything else. Because I can't.
Like, the best he can do is TikTok to time leap the Melem into like a Nabu or something and get an extra draw out of it.
I guess, but
It would put him on 7 cards at the end of turn rather than 6. But I think he's still not in a good position to survive a gas deal turn. And because he didn't have enough resources on the board, he was never winning this game this turn no matter what.
Okay.
This is why I think he should just go into the Grog Rock, because he still had the History Maker. He could still have gone for History Maker, Melem, TikTok. He could still resolve the 1 round of Watar, but this time still have Chronojet into next stage, back into a Chronojet again, just as like a backup option. Or even the Metallica Phoenix, to be honest, just get like just to get 2 lots of triple drive.
I'm still attacking with my finger for 37. No, 37.
Oh, he's gonna PG this.
Okay. So he discards the Moth. Blank.
Mont Blanc.
Wow, just blanks coming, and that's really bad for Muzrax, especially given that he put back a heal to start this combo turn. Yes, he's going to end the turn with 6 cards, which is just nowhere near enough to survive a big gas deal turn.
So attack for 23. This is 5.
Just take this, get all the Count Blast he can. Yep. Melem doesn't hit.
To the finger. I just giving it option to G-card. Yeah, no guard?
Oh, what is
I
he?
guess going to Nabu and draw a card is the best he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no zero that you can pull out that makes a difference.
No. Okay. Yep. So Nabu.
Yeah.
There's no reason to
He's
call it.
calling over the Chronojet and then chooses not to call the zero. That way, if for whatever reason Drakera gets deals for Brufus, he has to retire one of his own rearguards.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
No, okay, he leaves.
oh, he
He
leaves
leaves the
it.
Chronojet on the board. Okay, that's interesting.
Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, I would say that going for Gastile into Brufus is still not the smart play here.
Mm.
Oh, he puts in the back row, so he can't even intercept. So so now he's definitely opening himself up for Brufus, which is
Huh.
So there's the Gastile. Make a board. There's the Rodeo. That's huge. That's really relevant.
That it is. And he does have like what, 3 or 2 Dimensional Creeper into his soul right now?
Yeah.
And I think that
So
was
he gets NLK and Brufus this time. Or NLK Rodeo would be really solid.
it is timing around. Give me a
It
moment.
is NLK Rodeo. Yep.
I'll be right back.
Sure, no problem. Just letting you two guys know that time on the round just got called, so this is turn 0.
Okay, I will check the dice down. So this is turn 0, so essentially we count from 4 to 1, just because the dice doesn't have a 0. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, chat, so while JJ's away, I'm going to try and do as much color commentary as I can. So we see that Drakera is just building up soul, getting stacks of the Gastile plus 3k, trying to go for this big turn. He does have the NLK this time, so you can just double Vanguard swing. That's going to be huge. The Rodeo Pump is also relevant as well. We saw that Muzdrak's got 3 blank triggers, so the chance of him having another PG is fairly low. So we'll see how well he can go here. And like I said before, the Hetero round isn't going to interrupt the NLK combo at all. All it does is just make the column slightly weaker and less scary. He's got cats as well. He's getting everything he needs. But again, because Drakera doesn't have assassins in his deck, he's just losing so much reach here. Like, realistically, I think what he wanted to have done was have a booster in the front row to be pumped up by the Gastile, and then swing with the boost, get the Gastile pump, and then replace the attacker with an assassin, which would still be 20 on its own, which is still hitting for numbers. And then he could recycle it with the NLK and go from there, which is kind of... Yeah, so his ceiling... He's put a glass ceiling on himself, which isn't bad. Like, I think he could still win this turn. I just think it's a little bit harder for him to do so. He now needs to commit a lot harder and use a lot more pieces and resources than he normally would have.
It is currently timing around. Active player.
Yeah, I already let them know.
Oh.
I already let them know.
One damage, right?
He didn't see any damage.
Huge as this is, it's threatening. It's just not guaranteed threatening.
What grade 3s did he put into his soul?
He got the NLK and the Rodeo.
Oh.
Yeah, so the Vanguard is going to be huge, but it doesn't have the crit. So it probably doesn't need it. But like I said, because he doesn't have the Assassin, because he doesn't have Shaharets, I don't know if he has a Mofin Soul or not, but his combo very much has a glass ceiling that he self-imposed. Like, he doesn't have as much reach as a normal NLK combo would. So yeah, this attack is huge.
Oh, he's gonna no
It's only
guard.
1 damage. Yeah. Stand trigger is really relevant. think the Roadie is the better stand target, right? Yeah.
One more. All right.
Go check.
Yep.
Okay.
No trigger.
Holy crap! What is it with everybody today? Not driving anything and hitting zero
Yeah, I know.
defensives. I what?
All right. And from hand, does he have the move to shove in? Nope, it's a killer tail. Does he re-rides in? What does he re-ride into? Brufus? Wouldn't do much here.
I think Moth is like the best play he can go for, right? If he
Yeah, exactly, because he doesn't have the assassin to double NLK. No, he just go back down to Rodeo. Okay, interesting. I guess he just didn't have the Master of Fifth Element.
But then you just still go back into anything else, right? You just go back into Brufus or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought, because at least the Brufus then has the crit.
And it still draws you a card. Or it gives you back a PG too as well, so it still gives you back resources.
Yeah, the protect marker is still fairly major, and the second drive as well would have been really appreciated.
Yeah.
G-guard.
Interesting.
And he just hetero rounds this, yeah.
The attacking unit.
And there's nothing that this can turn into that's
Relevant.
anywhere near as good, yeah. And sitting on like the chunky Rodeo on the defensive, I don't think makes enough of a difference currently in this situation. The cat comes down. All right. You can call the cat to the back row. I think he knows that. I hope he knows that.
I guess if he gets a trigger that's like a crit or something, give power to it.
I guess, yeah, then it hits 14, but with one drive, that's kind of yikes. It's 24, which isn't bad. No, it's more than that. It's 36.
One drive. We'll see.
Yeah, 36 on drive hits, but it's also fairly easy to guard.
Yeah.
And there's the PG. Yep. So now he needs to get a 10k trigger onto the cat.
RPG. Hello? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Ah.
the mof. All right, unfortunate. Yeah, so he was aggressively like soul charging so many cards, and he was still missing pieces, which again I think is just
Another damage.
partly a weakness of his build and partly a weakness of his sequencing. Like I think he could have set up his soul charge in such a way that he was more favored to soul charge his important pieces.
Skill.
And he goes into Gear Groovy now.
I will flip the next stage. So what I will do now? Flip next stage. Oh, get goofy. Then
Yeah, so he copies build and next stage. And it's pretty lethal here.
Yeah.
I think Dracair doesn't have enough cards in hand either to defend against this. Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attacks, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
No, 7, because he doesn't have Melon. So he needs the history build for the Melon first. Yeah, so he had a double heal trigger as well. Wow.
this is 14 Emblem Master.
Ah, he wants to get rid of the Emblem Master already.
Which makes sense, because you know, this is 10k shield to protect 10k shield rather than just being 5k shield on Vanguard.
And I do like why Mushrux is doing this too, because it also allows him to filter the grade 1s out of his deck. Basically,
Yeah.
around allowing him to just set up his board better.
Yeah, the only issue is that again, you know, he's missing slight value on this history build here because he has to history maker into the Melem rather than Melem into the 0, then history makering the 0. Yeah, so being on a 24 body is useful, but you know this still hits. It's 25. Oh, 5, yeah, 5k from the
Oh wait,
Uluru, yep. Yeah, and he turns this into an Urwatar, but he has, you know, we saw that Muzrax now has no cards in hand. So
Yeah.
This was 26.
Yep. And then there's 2 Vanguard swings, the second of which does have the Chronojet Counterblast 1 Sentinel restrict, which could be useful.
Yep.
I just don't see it doing enough.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I guess he counted how much grade 1s he still had left in his deck. I probably would have like boosted with the heal trigger and still leapt into like a order or something and just let that die to game mechanics just to filter, I feel.
Right, yeah.
Let me think. So this is.
Oh, he did play it. What? But then,
But he has no cards in hand to bind for it anymore.
oh, he has Wartar. He does have a Wartar though.
Right, yeah, you can always do that. But then that's still... He'll still end up with no cards in hand, which is very, very yikes. And this is what we're saying, right? Like, I think that Drakera can definitely survive.
I will be thinking.
So Drakera survives and then goes into the Blader Mouse, which Muzrax there's no way of defending against.
I think the Melem should be on a force marker.
Yeah, because it at least hits. And like using 2 cards to like binding to the cost to make him go out with 2 cards, I think is not really relevant here because Drakera has enough cards in hand that this shouldn't be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The only downside is that Drakera can't G-Guard, which would have been really useful here. Discarding the Loaf.
So did you put an extra card in the guard circle since the G-Slow?
Yep, so he needs to go with 2 cards.
Oh, he has 1 card in hand.
Yeah, that's pretty dangerous. Strand Trigger fortunately doesn't do much. The Melem still doesn't hit. That does.
Yeah. Second.
Ooh. Yeah, Drakera's on 4 damage. I think he does have access to heal triggers in the deck, so it's not the end of the world. Wow.
Oh.
Triple draw. I mean, it doesn't matter, because the problem is there's still 2 more attacks coming in. One with the Chronojet with the pump, and then one from the grade 3. So he just needs to heal once here, and he's safe.
He's going to be pitching cards for next stage.
Yep.
So I will be attacking with this column. This is 15 plus 13 is 20. 15 plus 13 is 28. 33, because I used his skill for the central restrict and the extra 5k.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Because
So he just has to take this, hope for no crits, and just heal off and survive. So he takes this, hope for no crit. Oh, there's the crit. Unfortunate.
Woof.
Yeah. So he has to 6 damage heal twice now. Yep.
Yeah, you took this, right? You not took it.
So there's the creeper, and then yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's-
well met.
I see. Holy shit, that's horrible.
I feel like that's not really an excuse though. Like having a bunch of grade 3s in hand isn't that bad because you can always play into it. Like that's what I'm saying. If he had the NLK in his hand, there was no reason not to NLK down to grade 2 and then NLK back to NLK. Because it just keeps you alive a little bit more.
And NLK
I
can
think
actually
he was reaching for a win con that just wasn't there. It feels like.
I guess he could have. I don't know. I don't know. Like he could have like NLK'd into NLK, right? And then.
No, you can't NLK. You can't double NLK because he doesn't have assassin.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I mean is the turn before he could have like both turns on grade 3 he could have double NLK'd and it just didn't come out, which is super weird. Which is unfortunate. But yeah, we have the other 2 results in as well, so I think we'll be moving on to round 3 very shortly.
All right. So what was the match between Warjiggle and Typo King?
Warjiggle 2-1 against Typo King.
Nice. And Sushi Slayer and Echo?
Echo 2-0 against Sushi Slayer.
Holy. All right. And then Moshrax just won his. All right. So now we know what they all play.
Yeah.
So now it's gonna be Echo versus Mushrex. Do you want to still stay on this table or?
Let's see who else is going on. If we can get all 6 players on stream at some point, that would be really cool. So we haven't seen Echo or Typo King yet.
No, exactly. And those are facing against people that we've seen before. So it really depends on what you want to do. Typo King is playing Sanctuary Guard MLB, and I don't know what Echo is playing.
Let's have a look at the standings. I think we're probably going to end up having to repeat someone because I don't think Echo is playing against Typo King.
No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, unfortunately. So
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'll print out the pairings in a minute.
sure. But yeah, that game was like I discussed earlier. You know, we saw the perfect example of the moment Di didn't like the moment Di chased the win and missed. It was basically dead in the water. Whereas Gear Chronicle can always just like spend turns like doing a little bit, and make value out of that. It's like it's like comparing like a standard 6-shooter revolver gun to like a blow dart, right? Like, you shoot the blow dart once, and then it takes you forever to shoot it again. But once you hit them with the poison, they're probably dead. Whereas with the revolver, you can fire 6 shots, one after another, but they might not necessarily hit.
Yeah, that does sound like a good euphemism. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dave, you're about to fuck me up, boy.
Yeah, I think we'll stick here and watch
I'm
Mozrax versus
I'm 2-2.
versus Echo.
You're about to fuck me up, bro. Let's go.
How do you mean 2 and 2?
I won 2-0-1. I lost 2-0 the other.
Oh, you won one game and lost the other.
Yeah.
But then, okay.
Fuck me up, bro. Let's go.
All right, so he's 1-1. So I guess this is a down pair for Dave. I think.
Yeah.
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 It's
All
a
right.
definite winner, right? Because there's only one person that's going 2-0. Or
Let me clarify for the guys. No, so because round 1 had a double loss because of a draw, Mozrax has been paired down against Echo. That's what's going on here.
oh wait, are the
Yes.
So it's a pity thing. Okay, I see that. I see it's a pity thing.
No, you are now like Mozrax is now the only EXO as of the beginning of round 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Then there's like a definite winner, right? Or
So if you lose this,
Echo's
then
winner.
yeah, because of standings, because of resistance.
Yeah, I know, but because like if there's one person that's definitely going like 2-0 or X0, then there's a definite winner, right?
Yeah.
If there's doesn't really matter. I just want to play matches, but
Dave, we've done this match before. You know how this is gonna go.
All right, so yeah,
triggers on either side, man.
Dude, I
we'll
fucking-
see what Echo is playing.
Yeah. Because I think he was the only one I didn't know yet.
So do we want?
It sounds like Echo's playing Gears as well.
Oh, okay. So gear mirror
I mean,
match.
interesting mirror match. Yep.
Otherwise, we're good.
So I think the question comes down to here is to whoever plays the better grade 2 game.
I'm down.
Yep.
I mean, not doing like 3.
And I think Mozrax is slightly favored here because he does have Temper Spheres, so you can go for like the time leap plays on turn 2 compared to Echo.
You want to die?
I mean, if Echo's also playing Temper Sphere, then it's very fair, but we'll see whoever rolls off first.
I have 5.
3 and 5, 2 low rolls here, but still, it'll do. It works.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to the final round of the premium, neighborhood open. Thank y'all for taking part today. I really appreciate it. It's a really good, just stress testing the event, seeing how it feels. So thanks you guys for your cooperation, and good luck. You guys can begin.
Thank you. Echo, I'm doing 1 back.
You're 1 back. Yeah, I put 2 back, and I'm crying.
Yeah.
All right. So Mozrax is going first. He's got the pressure on him to play the grade 2 game to not give up the first stride.
It's bad.
Okay, so I just got Echo's list in my hand, so I'll be sending that over to you. He is playing some things that are a bit different.
Tempest Sphere is like the first stride is like.
Oh yeah, wait. You have Tempest Sphere right now.
I have Tempest Spheres now, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, Echo now has Temper Spheres. So it comes down to whoever's drawn their Tempest Sphere.
Yeah, more or less. And he
Or F5.
does play a bit more crits, from what I see. So he's playing a pure crit variant. Well, crit and stands, of course, but
Yes. Which I think is
Oh,
fine.
GSS.
Oh, that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem.
oh, that is bad beats. All right, let me fix the names. Give me one moment.
So he at least hits the G assist. It just means that he's probably gonna lose. He's probably gonna lose his Nabu
Bro, this is gonna be hella entertaining.
and probably his Tempest Sphere.
Mm-hmm.
I will follow you, but I will follow you.
At the same time, I feel like you'd want to keep the Tempest Sphere because that's what lets you play the grade 2 game and that's what gives you the pressure.
I find it weird to get rid of it too as well. I like
Yeah.
even to like tossing it with PGs and stuff like that is kind of different. I do like the secondary grade 3 that he is playing though, which is the one that allows you to go into grade 2.
Yeah, I think that card's really good for like. The only problem is that he's going second rather than going first, so
Mhm.
it gives him the chance to do things if for some reason Mozrak decides to grade 2 game him. I probably wouldn't have gotten rid of the heal here. I think I would have gotten rid of the. I think I would have gotten rid of the TikTok
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a quick shield?
because you're losing so much pressure there.
Oh, I could get rid of that, couldn't I?
No, you can't because
Oh, I can't.
you-
Oh yeah, because it's before, right? It's before.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
it's not ideal, and I think it's gonna really affect him. Like he chooses not to attack, which is smart because it denies the Tempest Sphere. And both players know that whoever Tempest Spheres into History Maker gets a really huge lead. And I think what Echo is hoping for here is that Mozrax tries to grade 2 game him, which then gives Echo the chance to play that secondary grade 3, stride quote unquote stride into Metallica Phoenix and then go back down to grade 2, which then puts pressure on Mozrax to give him the first stride. I
Yes.
think that's pretty much his only line of play here, which would explain why he gave up the heal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that sounds like 5D chess. So I mean, we'll see how this turns out.
What's also really interesting is that Mozrax chose to ride up to grade 2 and then pass, which instead of passing, I think something Mozrax could have done here was just not ride and pass, which would have given him an extra draw off of the Chrono Tooth, which is huge, and it also again maintains the quote unquote going first stride pressure on Echo now. So now that Echo is ridden as well, it's now up to Mozrax to grade 2 game. Whereas if they both just stayed on grade 1, whoever rides up to grade 2 first is the one who has to grade 2 game, if that makes sense.
Yep. No, it does. But I think from their frame of mind, I mean, I guess if I was either Mozrax or as Echo, I think I would just ride up and pass because there's nothing.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing that Gears can do without a CB. They
Right,
don't play
that's what I'm saying,
Bobo.
that I would have just stayed on 1 because then you get an extra draw from the Chrono Tooth,
oh god.
and I think that's huge. So here, the fact that Mozrax rode a 9k rather than a 10k lets him swing under,
Mhm.
which is huge.
Okay, cool.
He gets the draw as well, which is also really major. But again, it's now, he's now played the grade 2 game. The ball's now in Echo's court.
Okay, that was my misplay for riding over.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I said, they should have just passed. But he does now have the backup grade 3 that lets him ride down to grade 2, which is pretty good. So he can get the plus from the Metallica back down to grade 2 to deny stride still. It's not ideal because now he's giving up damage, which means that Mozrax has the potential to Tempest Sphere into pieces. But it means that he can get the damage lead if nothing else.
Yep. And if it flips over like a crit or two, I think. Oh, never mind.
Yep.
50k, yeah?
Yeah.
No burn.
First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Third check, heal trigger, power vanguard.
Those triggers aren't ideal here, but they're better than nothing.
My turn?
Okay.
It gives him much of cards in hand and lets him stride right back down to grade 2,
Yep.
which is pretty useful.
And from Soul, I write this as rest.
But like I said, if they had just both spent an extra turn on grade 1, I think it would have been a lot. It would have been a lot more beneficial for Echo because it forces Mozrax to have the grade 2 pressure there.
Mm-hmm.
Tempest Sphere?
And yeah, he had the Tempest Sphere anyway, and he just used not to ride, which means that next turn, depending on what Echo does, Mozrax will now have the early game aggro he needs, whereas Echo's still waiting for his counterblast to do things with.
Yep. It does,
Nosrax also
however.
adds the heal to hand, so they both have a heal in hand. So giving up that first stride, like it doesn't shift the balance of the G guard either.
So this now gains 3k. So it's
Yeah.
on top of your aircon.
That's fine.
How many defense do you think you are getting, Echo?
Not enough.
Not enough?
Not enough.
So the question is, does Nosrax choose to aggro here or not? And if he does, can he do anything with it? So he's got the TikTok, which is nice,
That's what will happen.
but he doesn't have enough counterblast to go any further.
Yep.
Hey, Echo.
Yeah.
Move.
So he does have a lot of bits and pieces, which is pretty solid.
Oh dear God, this is just gonna be a gross turn.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah. The only downside is that the Wata column. Oh, it does because plus 3k.
Yep.
Man,
It's
hits
plus 3 from the hill builder.
No god.
So he time leaps the Wata into a Melon, which still hits, draws from the Wata, and then the other Melon can turn into Gear Cat, which is absolutely insane. So the first Melon can turn into the Premium Collection crit, which goes into Soul to draw,
Mhm.
and then the other Melon just becomes Gear Cat, and then he's ready for next turn. So yeah, this is the grade 2 game has definitely fallen out of Echo's favor here. I think it's because he was a bit greedy and kept the Tempest Sphere off the G assist.
Yep. And he also rode up into the grade 2.
Exactly.
Yeah. No god. Stream makeup.
Oh, no defensive either to
The
defend himself.
defensives really hurts. Yeah.
Oh boy.
And out comes the other Premium Collection crit, and then Vanguard swings for 32, which is also really antisocial.
I love how you terminal just deemed it antisocial.
Yeah.
Low interaction.
God.
Move skip.
Yeah. No god.
And Echo still doesn't have any pressure here. All he has is the Force marker that he got. Wow.
And he had a crit.
Yep.
He-
Monster dragon.
No defensive.
Island.
Also no defensive. Wow. What is going on today? I don't think we've seen a single defensive trigger
No, we
ever
haven't.
today. It's insane.
It's 15k shield here. Anything? Anything at all?
Yeah, he.
Oh dear God.
Oh. There's just nothing he can do right now because, again, neither player's on grade 3. He doesn't have.
Grade 2 still, right?
I think Echo just has to pray that he has his Tempest Sphere into his double History Maker turn, is the next best thing he could do here. Because at least he has the Force marker to go with it. And he did keep the TikTok from the G assist, so he can do the same things that Nosrax is doing, just with an extra 10k power.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can drive check his heals,
Oh no, not that. Oops.
Oh,
but he's already seen 2 heals, so it's going to be a lot harder to do that. So his quote unquote route of stabilization is much less
1, 2, 3.
likely, as it were.
Okay, Echo.
mm-hmm.
7. Yeah.
I will just do 1, 2, 3.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
You won.
So yeah, he gets nothing off of the Tempest Sphere, which is unfortunate.
Really?
Bro.
Yeah. Neither player has Sabreeze,
Really overestimating my hand here, buddy.
which is probably going to be like,
Forget to mine, so.
yeah, neither player having Sabreeze is what's keeping them like at this stage here, because now there's no threat of like, oh, just striding and then going for it, and they both have Tempest Sphere anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. The point is that if he was going to Tempest Sphere anyway, he probably should have just gone into grade 3 and then tried to do something with the extra drive. But yeah, so now Echo has his own combo of Melon, Premium Collection crit, TikTok history build.
And he has a lot of CB to work with. Just
Yes.
so all the CB.
Yeah. The only issue is that I would have made this column slightly differently. I would have put the history maker in front of the Chronotooth on the Force marker, because the Melon is a. You want to have the Melon TikTok column anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a slight mistake here, but we'll see how that plays out.
It goes into soul.
It turns that into an Wata,
Get a grade 0 out of it.
and then he can history maker the Wata into another Melon, while TikToking the history maker into a grade 3. Which is a decent attack, but it's not much. I don't think it wins in the game. This is a really minor thing, but he also could have just used the Urcap here to gain Twin Drive, since he has so much counterblast to play with, and the Twin Drive could have maybe given that little bit extra pressure he needs to get through.
11 cards in hand.
I was counting, so that's
Small things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, yeah, because Muzzrax has so much hand now, because he,
I really fucked up. I didn't use a club skill. Okay, whatever.
yeah, he just knows he didn't use that card. But yeah, now Muzzrax has so many cards in hand, it's gonna be really hard to like punch through, and
12 plus 8, 20k.
it's only gonna keep getting bigger. And as long as you
Family.
aren't forcing him to stride, he's not forcing you to stride, and so neither player is being forced to give up that much shield value. Except this time, because Echo's on 5, he has to guard more than Muzzrax does.
Yep, almost twice as much, especially if he's gonna go into the grade 3 that forces you to guard with 2 or more cards from your hand to every attack, which is just gross.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Sorry, no, I'm not doing it. Do you take the 20k or did you guard it?
Oh no, I waited for you to reach.
Okay, 20k. 20k.
I got for 15.
15. Okay.
So yeah, all those free cards that Muzzrax is gaining is
21k.
made its interesting that he doesn't TikTok here.
I guess he could still TikTok on the Malem attack, I guess.
Leaf Melon, so tick away on Melon.
Right, and try and go for another History Maker Awatar. Yeah, that makes sense.
Grade 0 and a grade 2.
I don't think that does enough though. That's the problem.
I don't think so either, but I mean, we'll see how it turns out.
I would also instead of getting the Awatar, I would also very much consider grabbing the Chronodran that they both play as a one-off. So you can History Maker the Chronodran to get the Chronojet as an attacker, which then bounces for next turn.
And it also has guard restrict, so if he's on high enough life, then he can actually
Yeah.
Yeah, so take your time, man.
Yeah, so he's still resolving the thing here. The only thing is, I probably would have at this point have put History Maker on the Force marker because the Chronojet's hitting numbers no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he wants to put Chronojet on the Force marker and then try and drive check crits onto it and then pray that it gets through with its plus 5k Sentinel restrict.
But then the History Maker can't really.
TikTok. No, TikTok.
But then the History Maker can't.
Interesting. He's going for this line instead.
Okay.
So what happens here is that he's going out History Makering
History Maker's going to be a 12
But-
swing.
on his Chronotooth.
Time leap this into a Melon.
Ah, okay. He
Okay.
gives up the draw. He gives up the draw from the Tomb Collection crit. So he can melon into another Awatar or another Chronodran and then History Maker again. Does he even have enough History Makers left? I think we've seen 3 already.
So there's only 12, right?
Only 12, yes.
I will guard this one.
Yeah, and they're all attacks that are easy enough for Muzzrax to guard.
And if any of these last 2 attacks are heal triggers in there, yeah, he's in for a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, just any trigger whatsoever.
It's going to be 21 plus 8, 29.
So this is going to be hard to guard, but yeah, Muzzrax just takes it because he's under no threat, and defensive really hurts.
Yup.
He's going to go into a grade 0.
Yeah, he's just gonna.
So he's going to melon first and then time leap to grade 0. Yeah. I think probably because he realized that he's run out of grade 2s to go for. Goes for the cat, which is interesting because he can't G guard.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what he's trying here. And then if he's not going to TikTok, then that TikTok space has gone wasted. Which is also really not good because now his hand is much less healthy than Muzzrax's.
10k Vanguard.
So there's just one to pass and he doesn't have the twin drive to punch over either. It's really unfortunate. So Muzzrax could just go for the one pass.
Defense or no defense?
Yeah.
Stand trigger.
That's pretty relevant. That's really relevant.
Oh.
So the attack still doesn't hit, but it's exactly what it needed because now you can History Maker, time leap the cat, make a dude, and then TikTok again, which gives him a little bit more reach. Not a lot, but a little bit more reach.
Time leap into Melon.
The only problem is that if he's going to use Malum now, it means that his cat's not going to come back, so he's going to be down the cat permanently.
Yep. And they both play only 1 copy of it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Interesting. I remember I remember that they used to actually play a decent amount of this, like 1 or 2 copies. 2 copies, I think.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that 2 copies might still be the go-to, or do you feel that 1 is still fine?
I think 1 is fine now, just because it's a small trigger. You only want to see it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the plus 10k defensive doesn't actually make that much of a difference a lot of the time, because most decks can really punch over that nowadays, especially on their big combo turns.
Okay, Vanguard.
So it's only valuable if you can like go first, set it up, and then go into like its GB effect.
Mm-hmm.
No worries.
So this is 21. It does hit. He can then, if he has the History Maker left, he can TikTok this Melon into the last History Maker, which does hit thanks to the history build, and then get the Watorf one more time. It just means that all of his time leaps won't come back, which is, it's not a neg, but it is lost value.
Okay.
So
gonna
Mazrax
it.
gives up. So yeah, Mazrax gives up the heal, and he goes.
Soul goes up here into a grade 0 and a grade 2.
So let's see if he has that fourth History Maker.
Or just anything really. Like a Dabu could be fine too as
Yeah,
well.
Nabu.
That's-
Well, Nabu wouldn't be bad here. It just wouldn't do as much.
Grade 2 comes out here.
Oh, smoke gear.
Oh, okay.
So it's 20. No, it's only 20. It's only 20.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not 25 because it's not on Chronojet.
Yep. So he doesn't get to draw a card either.
25k.
20.
So
Yeah. Oh, no, he doesn't get the draw because he's not Chronojet. So yeah, setting up the Chrono Dran is interesting. I mean, I guess it means that he doesn't have the fourth History Maker anywhere.
no. I will take it. So 1 damage, right?
Yeah, 1 damage.
But now both players are playing at 5 damage with
Yes, one says
only
This-
medium.
Time because it's
Yeah.
Sorry, so this goes back, and this comes out.
Everything else is gone.
History Maker also.
History Maker comes. Wait, how did the History Maker get here?
The
No, he
History
got
Maker. You got the
He got
melon.
third time leaving a melon, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
go
melon
for
comes out here.
yeah, and these go on deck. So yeah, this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I lose here, but yeah, go. Your turn.
Yeah, I think they both only have like 4 or 5 cards in hand. It's gonna. So-
it's your turn, I just think I lose here.
Yeah, both of them are 5 damage currently.
4 in deck.
So yeah, Muzrax finally gives up the grade 3, rides first, goes for stride.
And I
Don't forget your force marker. Yep. Goes for a Phoenix. I mean, Echo might be able to survive.
Stuff with the cat there, I forgot I was in grade 3.
He might be able to guard through this. Maybe.
It depends if there's a History Maker or a TikTok. That's the only bullets he needs to dodge right now.
There's definitely no tick dots because Muzrax damaged one and used the other one the previous turn.
Ah, okay.
But he does have a History Maker. That's a problem.
That is
do a skill, right?
big ouchie.
Yep, that might be game
How many cards in hand?
because Muzrax is now putting out 4 attacks. Yeah, he can't guard them all. He needs the 6 damage heal to even have a chance of surviving.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that through. GG's.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a shame. I think.
Echo, by the way.
Oh, he had all his heals in hand, right?
Yeah, and he needs to divine one as well.
Like that last attack, I only had APT left. Oh, yeah, that's card value. So
Yeah, I think if Echo hadn't messed up his attack combo, he could have won the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we just saw Muzrax said he only has a PG in hand, so if Echo could make 2 more attacks, which he definitely could have if he had sequenced a little bit more intelligently, he actually could have won that game that turn, which is real shame.
Close, close. But that's kind of like one of the cool things about premium, though, right? It's just sort of like sequencing is like so important sometimes. Like figuring
Exactly,
out what
yeah.
what order you want to go for, and the thing is like, yeah, Chronic is a pretty confusing deck to play because everything is fluid, everything is very dependent.
Exactly.
Dependent
Yeah.
on what your opponent hits and defensive triggers and stuff like that. It's like, ah, crap, I can't hit now. Okay, what's the other line I could go for? And then time's running too as well, and you kind of want to beat the clock too. So it's just like all of that compiling on itself.
Yeah, like, deciding like, do I TikTok here? Do I TikTok, which attack do I TikTok? Which target do I History Maker? Or do I History Maker into? Because if they get a defensive, then the Melem turns off. Where do I put the force marker? What do I put on the force marker? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of aggro here. So Echo's here choosing to go second for game 2, which I think is it could work out very poorly for him. Again, it's the case of the player that goes first now has to grade 2 game and play around the first stride without unless they have Tempest Sphere.
1, 2, 3.
So the Tempest Sphere is going to make the difference here. Like, we saw that both players had Tempest Sphere last game, which let them both aggro and combo on grade 2.
Yep.
It's just a question of now that Echo's going second, he's under much less pressure to have the Tempest Sphere compared to Mazrax.
Okay. Yeah, I think my biggest mistake there was like putting the 10k grade 1 or grade 2, sorry, not the 9k. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And like I said, like we are saying about how the combo being flexible and stuff, as well as like choosing to combo or not combo, there's also the choice of just choosing to not ride grade 1, which then it transfers the pressure of going first to your opponent, which is huge.
Absolute garbage.
Because both players are damage dying anyway because they want to play around the Tempest Sphere, right?
Yeah.
So by choosing not to ride grade 2, it means that your opponent either then has to ride and pass, which loses value, or also not ride,
Up to me. Okay.
which then gives you a bit more, like, which is then tempo positive.
If it's up to me, we're doing it.
Because then you could just get to draw an extra card for the turn, and you still can choose to ride the grid 2 after, or just
Exactly.
Oh,
Especially if you don't have the 9k, if you don't have History Maker to ride. Like, if your opponent ends up having to ride a 10k grade 2, that lets you then ride the History Maker and then swing under and go from there.
which
So
is
there's,
exactly.
there's a lot of back and forth and dynamicism in the matchup.
Oh, he can't do damage in eye, unless he runs. Oh,
I mean, it tick away is a 7k, but it does still hit, unfortunately.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the thing. So, Mozrax riding the 7k, 7, 8k means that Echo has to pass. And then if he rides here, Echo has to pass again, which I think he should definitely consider doing. But no, he just rides the 10k, okay, which means that Echo now has the chance to ride History Maker,
right. Pass.
and he unfortunately doesn't have it, so yeah, they both pass again.
Pass?
Yeah, pass.
It's hilarious. Oh man, premium.
So the question here is, if Echo has it, is he even going to commit to the stride into grade 2 line? Because now that they're getting damage, it's kind of back and forth. And like he'll get the force marker, but he won't get anything out of it. So the GSS comes in from Muzrax. We see triggers, we see a heal, we see a History Maker and a Melem, so all he needs is the Tempest Sphere to go off. But knowing that there's no Tempest Sphere in the hand, it means that the grade 2 game is now positive for Echo.
Yep. Since everything is all clear for him to commit to the board or attack or do whatever he needs to.
Yeah. And Muzrax whiffs the G assist as well.
And
So he just gives the damage because he knows now that he doesn't have the pressure from the Tempest Sphere anymore. If Echo has the Tempest Sphere, he just goes for it. If not, Echo can also just very safely go into the stride into grade 2 line. And it gives him a force marker, it gives him damage lead, all while not risking the Tempest Sphere play from Muzrax either.
Oh.
But instead, we see the Tempest Sphere.
Okay.
That's very huge.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So now the pressure's definitely on Muzrax to ride up because Echo now has all his GB skills online. He's got everything he needs. Like, he can start setting up Melems into TikToks, into all that good stuff. So he doesn't have the counterblast, the History Maker.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing he can definitely do is Melem TikTok into Nabu, while also setting up something like, say, TikTok for next turn or Chronodran for next turn. And that would let him, like... At that point, it doesn't matter if Muzrax gives him grade 3 stride or not, because he then has the ability to just play the rest of his turn and keep going for his combos from that point onwards.
Call.
Ooh, interesting. He just goes for a Watar TikTok. So this column doesn't hit, but it does let him immediately TikTok the Watar to get the immediate plus into the Melem, which will still hit.
Oh, it does still
and then
hit.
Melem,
It still hits.
right, from the plus 3. I keep forgetting that TikTok itself has plus 3k. I always forget that. But yeah, so this hits. He goes into the Melem. Melem can hit, set up Chronodran for next turn. He gets the plus of the Watar. He gets everything he needs. This is a really solid line for Echo now. Just goes for the Melem. Plays it safe.
Deck. Draw 2. Put them back. I'll shuffle the deck then, because there's no point. Actually, I'm going to swing Melon 11k just before I shuffle, because I'm going to have to go through it in a second anyway. 11k.
I mean, he
So
is.
now we see that, now Muzrax is guarding, which is losing cards in hand. And as we've seen, his hand is not super healthy. Like, it's got some decent pieces, but it only has combo. It doesn't have much more else. So he's just going for the TikTok, knowing that if Muzrax rides grade 3, he'll have stride, and TikTok extends the combo. And if not, then anything he makes next turn, TikTok can work on and still hit over numbers.
10k.
So yeah, this is still really solid.
Stand trigger.
Ah.
Vanguard.
Yeah.
Made a mistake. Should have called that there.
No. I don't think he made a mistake. It's fine.
No, yeah, you definitely don't put it in front because then he just attacks your rear guard and that's bad.
Yeah, if I called that there, I'd be able to restand swing again.
That wasn't worth it, I'd say.
No.
The double G guard is really strong from Muzrax, so if he can, yep. So he just gives up the grade 3 this turn. I think he loses. I think you have to give up Nabu and draw PG. I think that's just what has to happen here.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Everything else is critical for your next turn. The only downside is that you ride grade 3, you swing for do nothing, and then he'll get the stride on you next turn. I think the game might be over.
I
unless the double heal
think
triggers
it's
something incredible.
Uwatar. Yeah, I think it's drop PG in Uwatar actually, because he needs to have
Right.
a stride fodder for next
He needs
turn.
a stride fodder for next turn. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives up the pressure. Echo now has first stride with Tempest Sphere off the first stride is also insane because now he can just full reset board off the time leaps. I think the Phoenix is not really going to help Muzrax here unless he finds like draw PG or another heal because he only has 2 hetero rounds. And the hetero round 1 column means that he can still Watar the other one, or he can just time leap whatever he hetero rounds into. So it's a band-aid more than an actual solution.
Yeah, I think what could help him here is that if he called the Melum, I guess he could have Rafana into Gearcat, but then he'd still been down and stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Stand triggers though. Look, they're friends.
End of turn.
Because then it could have given a defensive buffer where the Melum couldn't hit over. Because he's only going to get one force
Yeah.
marker next turn, and then the other rear guards just can't hit. So
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right. Project Dragon. Imaginary gift. Force 1.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll see here. Because I think the history build this turn is going to be quite a weak stride.
Yeah.
Because he's already committed like history makers and Melems last turn.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we don't know if he has more or not, but if he does, like it's going to be a lot harder for them to get there. Okay, so who's going to go into the history build instead of say Grogrok?
You really love Grogrok, huh?
I think because like there's so much that Muzrax can do this turn that makes Echo's turn irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
So the Grogrok is just the safe play no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, he committed 2 cards from hand to the board to attack with, and he might not even get the plus out of them anymore. Like they might not pay themselves back. Whereas the Grogrok will always be +1.
That's true. I do feel like playing this deck again, man. It's been so long.
It is very technical. I respect that about it.
Okay.
So he doesn't G-Guard this one, which is really good for Echo. Because now he can History Maker doesn't hit, but I think you History Maker anyway, just to turn the Wato into a Melon.
Oh,
And then you have the classic Melon TikTok combo.
the History Maker does hit. It's 15 now.
Right, because it's Vanguard Circle as well, 3k, so it's VF +6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think he definitely does that, right? He just goes for History Maker.
Yeah, take
It, the timing of it precedes the G-Guard timing, so it's definitely safe.
Okay, Vanguard. Counterbalance 1. Timely Porter.
Yep. Go to the Melon.
And if it's a stand trigger, that also like helps give him an extra attack column as well.
Melon.
He doesn't have enough counterblast for that, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah. So what's probably gonna happen here?
Like the bottom card. Wait, the Uwart right in the bottom. No, the Uwart card that you put back. That is on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's you called out like Melon. You shuffle right.
Yeah, I can do sure.
Yeah.
So what he's probably gonna do here is he'll attack with the Melem
Back. I'm gonna shuffle my
to make probably Nabu,
Mm-hmm.
and then either Gearcat or Chronodran. And then he can Chronodran into... He can time Chronodran with History Build into Chronojet, which bounces to hand. And that's pretty solid as well. And the only problem is that the History Maker on the non-force circle just doesn't do anything.
This is 15 years.
So I think if I'm Muzrax here, I think I probably think about hetero rounding either... Probably the TikTok. I don't know about hitting the Melem, because the only way hetero rounding the Melem works is if he hetero rounds into a grade 3, in which case his time leaps become useless. like him pulling out a grade 0 doesn't do anything, and because he has no counter blast, Melem time leap into History Maker isn't a threat to worry about.
Yep.
So I think I would have gotten rid of the TikTok instead, because that guarantees makes another attack no matter what comes out. So yeah, okay, it's a grade 3, which is exactly what he wants. It means that he can't time leap that. But instead he does get the effect, which forces Mozrax to double guard the next 2 attacks. And there are definitely at least 2 more attacks, because History Build will turn History Maker into a grade 3, and then it means that TikTok goes unused. That's the only downside here. And if you're Echo, I think you don't care.
Unless you want to leap into a grade 4, if you're really feeling like very antsy about it.
I could see that.
Unless you're feeling really spicy about it, if you really want to track down to the
Yeah.
game. But I don't know how to feel. I don't.
Well, I mean, he does have the. I'm gonna call it Orcustrion because that's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
He does have Mr. Orcust on the board, so the 50k attacker would have helped, but now he got the defensive trigger. It actually doesn't make a difference.
Yep.
So now he probably history builds the grade 3 into like a Metallica Phoenix, which is 25 that still hits, and it asks for 2 cards from Muzrax's hand.
Oh, you still good? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
still...
He needs another card. He needs another card.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
And I guess
He's just deciding what to guard here because, yeah, like you saw, Muzrax's hand was, like I said, not very healthy, and it's full of combo pieces. So so now he drops the Melem. So he can still guard all of the attacks coming in here. It's just it'll mean that his eventual stride turn, is going to be a lot less threatening. He goes for 2 grade 4s here. Interesting.
hot. I mean, it filters a deck out of 2 cards. And
True.
I mean,
True. And one trigger means that the other grade 3 can now hit. So it's not a bad play. It's just slightly risky. He just makes a Phoenix in the next stage. Yep.
I will say no card this deck.
Oh.
Ooh. So now a crit could end it.
Yeah, he didn't have any Tempest Spheres.
Okay, never mind. Okay, so yeah, I was looking at that. Cool.
Yeah.
So Muzrax no guards this, prays for no crit, and then can guard the other 2. So blank. Blank.
Yeah.
There it is!
I mean, what's to be expected, sadly enough. Oh, I guess he doesn't die.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
The heal trigger means that the other attacks now don't hit through, so...
33?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, skill went to the wrong card, so I can't do anything.
Yep.
Yep.
End of
So that's the end of turn, unfortunately.
Go back to deck.
Yeah, I think I'd probably have also trigger dumped to 1 unit as well.
Mhm.
How many cards do you have in it?
Not enough.
But again, Muzrax only has like 5 cards in hand,
Right.
and I don't think he can put up enough of a combo to shred through and win the game this turn. Because Echo's only on 2 damage.
Yep.
And again, 1 good defensive from Echo also does like flips it back.
Good enough.
He does have 3 markers, I guess.
Yeah, if you've got that grade 3, then I'm fucked.
I mean, he's gonna leap into it anyway.
Oh, I know I see what you're doing.
Yeah, he can make it. He can
Yeah,
make it.
he can make it.
But again, Echo's only on 2 damage. I don't think he's under that much of threat. Like,
No, of course not, of course.
yeah.
No, man.
I think as long as he guards the early attacks while he can, he should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
35.
Because this is definitely Muzrax's last turn. Muzrax is on 1 card in hand. He's going to go up to 5, and it's going to be it.
Yep. 2 heals are gone already. He healed 1.
Yeah.
And he only has like 1 in deck, and the max amount of damage you can heal to is 4. So, so no.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, a crit from Muzrax could also change things, but I wouldn't be panicking at this stage.
No.
I think he's fine.
Okay. Timely. No timely, but G-Guard.
Oh.
On the TikTok.
There we go. Yeah, that's the safe play. It stops him from... It means that Muzrax has to use the Vanguard attack to pull out the Orcustrion,
Mm-hmm.
which gives Echo a lot more time to guard the regular attacks.
But what sucks here is he actually can just leap down into TikTok.
2-1-3.
Right, but if he does that, it means that he's lost an attack from the Melon.
True.
I have to get rid of these two. So
Oh, the
Uh,
cat is really strong as well.
But he needs to say heal next turn. Ugh.
Yeah. So he just cats into a TikTok work. No, I think he's out of TikToks, right? No, that's the
No.
last one. There it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one he sent back with it.
Attack. Southwest.
Turns back into a Melon again. Yep. Yeah. Like here the
So this is 24.
Oh, I think we just lost Ben.
how much? 24?
25.
Yeah, I think we just lost Ben.
Check.
Give me a minute.
History maker.
Ben, we just lost you. Give me a minute.
31. 30k shield.
Yeah, he's talking now, but we can't hear him.
work.
70. Mana.
Interesting. He's time using the Melon instead of the history build. So he's gonna history maker the history maker? Ooh, that's
Ah.
interesting how he does it that way.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah, it gives him another line of Melon.
9.
But again, like Echo can just keep guarding these and eventually just eat the Orchestrion swings as they come.
No god. Damage check. History maker.
Wow, these are some really unfortunate damage checks here.
Get you, man. I will come for you.
So then this Melon probably turns into a Chronodran, time loops the board.
This is 31.
31.
Yeah.
No god. Chronodran.
Oh
he's taking-
dear.
Jesus. Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's I'm wondering why he's taking all of these rather than guarding the ones that he can afford to guard.
He's back for you.
Yeah, I think it's GG's.
And then he goes into the Orchestrion and the Melem.
Yep.
So Melem goes to the 2 marker column. Orchest goes to the 1 column.
Mm-hmm. And that's now 3 attacks that Echo has to drop 2 cards. 4 attacks that Echo has to drop 2 cards to guard,
Mm-hmm.
which I think he can't do.
So 37.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's in Echo's hand here that he's just taking those attacks instead of guarding those and taking these.
Because, like, how much cards do we know that was in his hand before?
Not a lot. We know that crit was in there, but ooh, double crit sentinel here. That's impressive.
First, stun trigger.
It's-
Nice to here. Stun.
No.
Doesn't help.
Nope.
Also doesn't help. Yeah, now the problem is that the force markers on the sides mean that the defensive heal doesn't even change much anymore.
Nope.
I attack. This is 23, 33, 38.
It's guardable, just not very well. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that
No
is.
defensives coming out at all.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's
Ugh.
unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, because he could have guarded like maybe one more attack too.
If
But
you're taking if he had 6 damage shield there, he could then have guarded the Melon.
yeah, because he could use the order just as a guard.
0 shield exactly. Yeah.
That's a good game, man. I swear to
That was really close.
I think on both ends. I think it just came down to like small, minute details, small, minute things. But
Yeah.
oftentimes those can snowball hella hard into premium. Like small.
Plus, Mosrex hit the 2 defensives on Echo's big turn, whereas Echo hit nothing. Made a really big difference as well.
2 games in a row too.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah. Whew. But they both played 2 of their outs. Both of them played
Groovy into next stage.
just. Whew.
Like,
Holy shit.
oh shit, Cole's in chat. Cole
Like,
baby.
even
Cole from Drive Check.
What is
my
it?
boy.
even though Mosrex gave him the first strike pressure, like gave up first strike pressure,
Yeah.
Echo wasn't able to like fully capitalize on it, which meant that
Did you have fun?
Mosrex was able to like come back with a decent offense and just break him down because
I need to get
Yeah,
better with the
because Echo didn't have the full combo. That he didn't reach his ceiling.
Mhm.
He both had less aggro and less draw power, and that really came back to bite him in the end.
very much so.
Good game.
I think like the only tiniest issue that I had was he didn't Rafana into header round. That's the only tiniest thing I had. That's the only small thing I had because he could have had he could have negated like half the attacks, half of the 7 attacks that he took. He could have like
Yeah.
made that like 3 or 4 if he had
Yeah.
he had done that play. But outside of that,
Yeah,
I think it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of Echo's line, like, game one there wasn't a lot he could do, which is a shame. And then this game, he had things going a little bit better for it, but it just missed. He just missed a little bit here and there. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So that is the end of Swiss, and Muzrax has gone undefeated.
And he gets to choose whatever prize support he wants from the from the box, and he lives pretty close
Yeah.
by. So all I gotta do is just send it to him via post, and that's it.
Nice and easy. Yep.
We're gonna have like a small
Let's-
deck breakdown from him. We're gonna take a look at some of the other features and see if anybody else still plays.
I
Mhm.
having a headache right now. Holy shit. I'm also like a little bit sick. Not COVID, but just a little bit sick. And then the headache is like, man.
Oh my god, he loves Vanguard so much on a headache. He just wanted to play. Christ.
Hell yeah, man. We gotta play some more.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
No worries, man. GG's. GG will play.
Alright then. I think Warjiggle and Drake are playing still. And then Typo and Sushi are also playing still. We have 7 more minutes on the clock.
Oh wow. All right then.
Let's, So what was your takeaway from the event so far?
I think it's about what you'd expect for like a small local event like this. It's some people playing really good decks, some people playing less than ideal decks.
That's a very nice way to say that one, but thank you. I appreciate you putting on the brakes for me. Thank you. I appreciate you being
Yeah.
nice.
Well, I mean, like DI without assassins is not really. There's not really a lot to say about that, is there? But yeah, I mean, the first few games, we saw that the players knew what was going on. It just felt like they were just at that level 1 of like, okay, I know that this is what happens, but it didn't feel like they knew this is how you stop it, or this is how you beat it, or this is how you play around it. Like, for example, when we saw Aquaforce versus Murakumo, Murakumo hit the Hwangs, which is kind of hard to play around, but there's still lines that he could have taken that would have been a bit safer and would have mean that he survives against the Nuadayo turn. Or DI versus Gears, like he messed up his Gastile combo the first time because he shoved in Moth instead of NLK. It's just like little bits like this where once there's like levels, right, to card games. Level 1 is knowing what you're doing. Level 2 is knowing what your opponent's doing. Level 3 is playing around what you're doing, and then level 4 is playing around what your opponents are doing. And today we just saw a lot of level 1 and level 2 play, but we never really saw like level 3, level 4 play. Everyone was just kind of like doing their own things. It was only in this matchup where we saw damage denial, like both sides damage denying, that we really got close to like level 4 play. But then we never saw like, okay, well, if he's damage denying me, I can do this. It was just more, well, he's damage denying me, so I can't do this, or I'm going to damage deny him so that he can't do this, instead of if he's being damage denied, this happens, which means I should do this. Like,
yeah.
We kind of almost got there when Echo ran to the grade 3 that strides down to grade 2, but again, he didn't luck was against him. He didn't have the pieces to capitalize on it, and so like the plays never reached their ceiling. We couldn't see like the ideal scenario play out.
Yep. And that can oftentimes happen, especially when in like that's the thing about like card games in general, right? There are gonna be moments where I tried to play towards those as outs, but unfortunately it didn't really go my way because I kept on missing like 1 or 2 additional pieces, and unlucky situations can happen. But at least you did your best to play towards it, and I think you could feel comfortable with knowing that hey, that was fine. We did
Exactly, yeah. Like you kind of when you're playing a game like Vanguard, you kind of have to like internally like internalize the fact that things might not go to plan. And it's something that I think if you watch like say 50 games of an average player versus 50 games of like a really skilled player, I think you'll see it comes out a lot more often where the skilled player can play themselves out of seemingly unwinnable situations. Like for example, one example I have is with Pell Moon Loop. Myself and the rest of Team Strictly Broken, we optimized, engineered, and made Pell Moon Loop one of the scariest decks in the format. And I've seen other people playing the deck, and they go, "Oh, I'm going to Songster Loop. Oh, I didn't hit my second Periton. I can't finish comboing." Or, "Oh, you hit two defensives. I can't whack over anymore." And then when someone like Nikki or Yue plays the deck, is like, "Oh, you hit three defensives? Cool. Let me do a thing, and now I can make my column 55k because I caused a Zan during battle phase and flipped a Cyclone, and I can have my Trapezis to reset both my columns and hit for 55 with my vanillas, which hits over your defensives." It's like it's these details that sometimes go don't get considered because people are only thinking about what I can do right now and what I'm used to doing rather than taking an image of a win condition and playing towards that.
Winning image. Anime. It's just an anime reference there, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it, but that's really how it goes. Say similar with DI, right? Like knowing that, okay, I feel like maybe the reason that Drakera shoved the Moth instead of the NLK into Soul is because oh, I'm afraid of this G guard or that G guard. But it's like, well, no, you can still do it. You just need to think if this happens, what does that mean for me? Sure, if this happens, then I can't do this. But then what else can I do instead? And it's that next step that we didn't really see get explored, right?
Yeah, exactly, because a lot of people tend to be too scared of what your opponent can do to you. Since a lot of people are, I wouldn't say people are too much scared of playing premium. It just feels that people are too scared of what your opponent can do to you in premium instead of what you can do to them after they do something to you. And that's
exactly.
And that's
and if you there's a difference between respecting your opponent's deck and damage denying DI versus being unnecessarily scared and just choosing not to attack when you easily could have, when DI doesn't scale with counterblast, for example, or not riding grade 1, thus forcing your opponent to play a grade 2 game when you know yourself that their opponent's grade 2 game might not be as strong as yours.
Yeah.
And it comes with experience. It's hard, it's not like you can just snap a finger and learn how to do that overnight.
Or a certain content creator, I don't know, somebody who wears glasses and probably has a card that channels that's called Yellow Card Vanguard could probably make a video series talking about those type of things. I don't know, but maybe. Possibly.
Maybe. I mean, if you to plug another channel here, Yue over on the Strictly Broken TCG channel, he did make a video a week ago about I think he called it easy tips increase your win rate, and one of them was play towards the heel, guard early, learn to damage your opponent. A lot of these really simple one-liners that and I'll admit I'm guilty of this myself, but these really simple short things that the better players, the people that go to Worlds every year, kind of take for granted. And I know I'm guilty of it. I know Maxime's probably guilty of it. I know most of WCC and most of Strictly Broken are guilty of it.
I mean, but you guys went to all Worlds though.
Yeah, but we see a player not damage denying, and instead of saying we immediately think, wow, why didn't he damage deny? He must be bad. Instead of thinking, right? It's that kind of like almost elitist thinking that it's not great, but it's the kind of it's obvious to us, but it's not obvious to the person making that mistake.
And I think that's the type of thing that I feel that players like you guys, or the people who have gone to Worlds, people who have been playing at that type of level for the past, almost a decade so far. I would love it that there would just be more content for that type of ideology for a bit, for at least being able to teach people hey, in this game state, giving a play-by-play lesson, okay, in this turn, what should, looking at your hand, looking at the board, looking at your opponent's damage, looking at your opponent's soul, what should you do in this situation? Sort of where with Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, you get sort of them little mini games and stuff that would teach you how line of play works and stuff. How to resolve skills and stuff like that. Those type of little mini games. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, I think it'd definitely be nice to have. It's just it actually takes a lot of effort to create stuff like that. So it's I agree, it would be beneficial for everybody. It's just, again, as much as less skilled players can't just snap their fingers and become good, we also the good players can't just snap our fingers and make people good either.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I mean, like I'm sure there's enough between WCC, Strictly Broken, and whatnot. Like there's enough ways of contacting each of us. Like WCC has their Discord, Strictly Broken has our Discord. If people want to talk to us, be like, hey guys, like I'm trying to just improve at the game, stuff like that. We're down to help, but we can't make you good players. We can only help people that are willing to help themselves. Is a really weird way of putting it, but that's kind of how it is, right? Like you need to learn that damage, like why you need to damage it now. You need to learn, why you want to not ride grade 2 and things like that. And as much I can say, oh, you want to damage a knight because you'll get blown up on grade 3 until I'm blue in the face. But it's whether or not it has to stick. People have to experience getting blown up on grade 3 for that to like really come down.
And I think that probably, yeah, that could be a nice thing. Actually, you know what? I have an idea. Yeah, I'll contact you about an idea now.
Sure, go for it. I'm always open.
Okay, good. I really want to see if we could get some of the guys to work on it together. Seems like a really nice one.
So we have round 2 in, so we're just waiting on the third round now before we wrap up the event.
Oh no, that was the third.
Yeah, as in like table 2 results. So we're just waiting on table 3
Oh, okay.
to finish up the game.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we have War Jiggle has beaten Drakera 2-0.
Ooh.
So now we're just waiting for Sushi Slayer versus Typo King.
Do you want to head over to the table to just take a look at it, or are you good?
Yeah, let's have a look.
All right. Warjiggle beat Drakera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Making sure.
This was, let me see, 28, 38, double crit, quadruple, no, triple crit.
Oh,
sorry.
so he's Crystal Luster on Sankguard. That's a very big swing. And we see he's got force markers from farming MLB the turn before. This could we might be watching the end of this game, very possibly.
Already? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We just got into. Give me a second. Wait, I think my Discord just crashed. Excuse me?
Oh.
Okay. You're right. Yeah, it just crashed on me. Alright.
Yeah, the only benefit Sushi has here is that he doesn't have the guard restrict from Crystal Luster active.
Oof.
So the PG comes down. Oh. Oof, that's going to be scary.
Wait, the 3 rounds already done? Yes, it's just 3 rounds, bro. We were just on for about 3 hours or so. 3 or 4 hours. I
I also just noticed that Typo King had two heals in his damage, so he probably 6 damage healed twice in a row, which must really hurt for Sushi Slayer.
Okay, let me see. This guy's just 40 right now, but that could be enough. So this is again. Oh, this is actually 48, not 38, because of the force marker. But okay. So 48 double crit to the Vanguard.
And there's still a huge number of attacks coming in.
Drive checks. Draw trigger.
Wow.
Power to lever off.
I think he no guarded and he's
Draw
on
one.
5.
Yeah.
Draw trigger.
Wow.
Power to lever off and draw one. Third check.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Trigger everything to lever off.
Oof. All right. Well, that was
Yes,
that was something.
Fight.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I was expecting drawing new cards, man. But this guy's pretty nuts big right now.
It's like what, 70 or 80k right now on his own?
10.
Just chilling?
Yep.
70, 80. This guy would be 90 double crit.
On his own, just chilling.
Okay, that's game. We have like 5 minutes.
Oh, they had a time extension? I guess they did.
Well, I think there's 5 minutes left on the round, right? Or is time on round over?
It is currently timing around now, but like depending on what's going on. Did they get a time extension? Core? Somebody?
We passed the time limit for 5 minutes now, right?
Yeah, but that's, it's overtime now.
Oh yeah, I know. The overtime is then 5 more minutes, I guess, right?
No. But then who won?
Oh, we're equal. We're 1-1. Right.
We're 1-1. Then that is a
Which
draw.
makes it a draw. Yeah.
Then that's a draw.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were in the middle of your game still, then you would have been able to still,
Oh, I thought
finish your
in
turns.
general finishing the match, but okay.
No.
Yeah, no, overtime is that, but you'd never, ever, ever start a game in overtime, ever.
Okay.
Yeah, so because like you finish game 2 there, you finish game 2 during time was called, there is no game 3. You just take the result as it goes, and if it's a draw, it's a draw.
Ah. Okay.
All right, so I think that's the second draw of the event, which is quite unfortunate. So let's just plug those in, have a look at the standings.
All right. So as we expected, it is. As we expected, it is Moshrax taking first, Warjail taking second, Drake
Okay.
third,
So, but
Echo is fourth, Typo fifth, and Sushi is last place.
All right.
I'll be posting that in the tournament lobby, and then everybody can kind of take a look. I'll be posting up the deck list in our Discord and then on the YouTube channel. If anybody, be interested in
finally eat my food.
anybody be interested in it. But I'd like to thank both of you guys for taking out your time to play at the event today. Really, really appreciate it.
It was fun, man. It ended like I would expect it, but it was fun.
Okay. I mean, it,
And I forgot to stride a lot this tournament.
Fight twice.
In one game.
Holy.
Actually tried 3 times because also once in this game. So this was my second big feature.
All right, let me ping everybody. Standings.
I'm making the same mistake that I'm trying to learn somebody else not to make.
Sure, I shouldn't have taken this deck because this deck, the title says a proxy of Zystral.
Oh, and Pursuit. He's the one that gets plus 5k on attack, right?
Yeah.
For the first attack?
Yeah.
No, plus Pursuit is plus 5k for each of your extra circles and Soul Blast rest 2 draw.
Oh, that one. Oh, okay.
So I should have brought DI, but like I don't know. But this DI doesn't say. I don't know about. Played against this DI before.
Yeah, kind of having to chill on like 0 damage, and then you kind of.
Like, oh, okay, let me just.
Hey, there's no complaining, man. I brought MLB to community. Come on.
It's a pretty fun deck.
And of course, it's your only deck, and it has to be a fun deck.
All right, so I think that's going to be the end of it. Thanks to all the players for playing in the event. Thanks for everyone watching, supporting us, and thank you to JJ for having me on and commentating. This was super fun.
And
I didn't even know if the order cards are.
I do want to in the future. I do wanna promote. I think the next one I'll probably do will be standard. I'll be switching from week to week. Standard. I don't know if you're interested in it, but we will be doing larger scale promotions, and we know the standard works fine, premium works fine. So here on out, we'll be promoting it every single time. So if you just want to hop on and do simple commentary, or if you want to bring on somebody else to do commentary with you as well, I'll just mute myself and kind of chill out, and then you guys can do commentary.
Yeah, if I'm
together.
ever free and I'm not working or anything, it sounds pretty good. You can. I think the bigger, there's nothing wrong with having a bunch of big events to play online, especially nowadays. Like the more Vanguard people can play, the better. So I think as long as I'm down to like help push that vision.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Ben. I will be chilling with the chat for a little bit, talking to them a little bit.
No worries.
If you want to head out, you can head out. If you want, you can keep on staying and chilling out here with me and talking. I'm fine with either. What you want to do.
I think I'm gonna go finish off working on that winners and losers video. So again, those of you in the chat, you get that special announcement that video will be going up later this evening. So keep an eye out peeled for that. But yeah, otherwise, it's been really fun being on. Thanks for chat for putting up with me. Thanks to you for having me on, and hopefully I'll see you all again real soon.
The floor is salt, the walls are
Aw.
salt.
and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you constantly taste the
No,
salt.
have a good one, Ben. Bye,
You
buddy.
too, man. Take care. I'll see you around.
See you
Bye
around.
bye.
All right. I don't know. I'm glad. I'm really glad that it turned out this way. I thought it would actually like crashed and burned way harder than it would have. And it went off way